DIY.
DIYers. Welcome. We're here with a special guest, and it's always a special guest. I don't care how many times you see me on screen with this gentleman right here. It's always a special guest, and my guy, Justin Hunt, the company man. How you doing, sir?
Active and awesome, man. Thank you for having me.
Man.
Ready to drop another classic. I feel like I was just saying this backstage. I feel like me and Curtis got a handful of classic lives now. If you agree, drop W's in the chat.
Go ahead and put the W's in the chat. No hat Curtis is crazy. Mind your business, first of all, and let us brag about this tag team championship. Somebody needs to hand to us. No, it's always a great time. We've done some full album reviews, especially. I feel like we met at moments on this channel specifically, and on yours when we do Culture United. But we met at times where it was like, this is a moment that cannot be ignored. And not that we ignore anything, but this is a moment that is shifting things, and we need to have a deeper kind of conversation about it. And I think today is no exception to that, right?
100%.
Man, so for those that don't know, we are officially, I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's conversations that are not my specialty at all. And I'm glad to have the company man on here to help me navigate some of those conversations. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now beyond my hairline. Okay, y'all need to relax. Okay, just because I look like an 80s drug dealer. That is incredible. Fly science. Relax. Okay, I just need you to know that I ain't wearing a hat to hide the hair. But on a serious note, a year ago, out of nowhere, I believe they said 5 p.m. Pacific time, Kendrick Lamar, after a victorious battle between him and the Canadian Light Bright. He out of nowhere dropped a song that, I don't think anybody could have predicted what this would sound like, called Watch the Party Die. And that was, of course, 9/11, 2024 when he dropped that. And ever since then, it has everything has gone to hell and more. There's a lot of stuff that has happened. What is kind of your thoughts now looking at this song a year later? We're going to revisit it in detail today, but what are some of your initial thoughts right now?
One, I think Kendrick's prophetic streak is one of the most impressive I've seen. I feel like this song, along with so many lines that have come from, obviously, the diss tracks, the entire Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, that whole foray feels years ahead. And this song, I think, really captures that prophetic, the prophetic nature of King Kendrick Lamar. I mean, just the level of upheaval we've seen in the music industry. The artists who are involved in the back and forth and the beef, sure, but also the artists on the peripheral, where most of their journeys, their paths have taken them in the years since, to the broader state of what this country is going through and the world is going through.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the ethos was of the last century is gone. And however you feel about that is however you feel about that. But we're in changing times, and I think this song really captures that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, no matter what side of the conversations that are happening, and a lot of them are definitely inflammatory conversations, very heated conversations about topics that people hold near and dear. One thing that cannot be denied, no matter what you represent, is that there's a shift that is happening, whether it's towards the uncomfortable. Most of it is uncomfortable. There are shifts that are happening and occurring broader, even outside of hip hop. But I definitely want to make sure that the primary conversation is, the things that we cover specifically in hip hop, because there's been a lot specifically that has happened. I'm sure we're going to revisit this, but if you remember, not even a few days after this song dropped, that was the beginning of the Diddy trial.
Oh, wow. Wait, the Diddy trial?
Oh, it wasn't the trial. It was
right.
The news that came out, and it was the raids it's only like if it wasn't a few days, it was a few weeks after, and everybody was kind of speculating, did he know something about it? Remember that was a conversation on Twitter?
Right. Yeah, that's what some of the lyrics he made people think about too. Yeah, you're right about that. I completely forgot about that as being part of the timeline.
as I was doing research, there was so many things I forgot that I was like, has it been that crazy of a year that you can forget something like this?
It doesn't seem like Diddy trial just came and went. To be, I mean, he gets rated at the beginning of last year. We get the Cassie video in the beginning of the summer last year. I think what you're talking about is when it was announced that he was charged with a RICO and he was getting arrested. Is that what you're
charged with RICO? Right.
He got charged with the RICO. He went through a whole trial, beat the RICO, still facing time, and now here we are a year later, and all of that just feels like a blip.
Well, almost, because did he just get implicated? I mean, we don't know how serious they're taking that, but did he get implicated in the case against, what was the gentleman that's retroactively, or he's being tried now for the murder of Tupac Shakur? He was on the podcast bragging. He's in Vegas.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Reggie White. Wright.
No,
no, not Reggie Wright. Who's the other one?
What's the guy's gentleman? That's what I'm saying.
Wright. What's his name? Oh my gosh,
he was the name.
I know you're talking about. He wrote the book. He wrote the book.
KPD.
That's it. KPD. Right.
God, like, it's so much stuff. There are side quests that shouldn't be there would be main stories at any other time, but it's so much going on. He just recently said that, or he's trying to basically say that Diddy was involved in, the events of what happened that September 9th.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. He's saying that Diddy paid him to do it? Is that what he's saying?
It's a controversy, but I think he is.
I think that's what he's saying.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Well,
watch the party die. His party died a long time ago, though.
Oh my gosh. And obviously, I know YouTube is very sensitive to these things, especially with it being so recent. The events of yesterday, I know everybody's timeline looks the same, or at least similar with the crazy events. There's just certain things. I was talking to my barber this morning, and I was like, there's certain things that I just don't like that I got used to seeing on the timeline, and the death of human beings, no matter what, stances that they have. And it's things that I wish I had a choice of whether to see anybody be taken off this earth like that. And the choice would be, I don't want to see it, but it is bombarded with whether I have a choice or not. Yesterday was just insane.
What's a friend of mine were talking about this, and there used to be a TV show, not even a TV show. There used to be a VHS and later a DVD series that you could get from a homie. I got them through the Friends Network, but there was a whole section in a Blockbuster where they had like X-rated stuff, and it wasn't always belly smacking X-rated. Sometimes it was violence. It was called Faces of Death, and it was like you would see people getting their head blown off. You would see a train run over a person, see half their. It was just like the most graphic things you could ever see. Mm-hmm. And now that's Twitter.
That's
now that's just social media.
Right here.
You just have to make a choice, go through a specific room, have an ID with the right age on it, to go see some of the stuff that we just see scrolling past our normal trending topics.
You know what's insane about that particular Faces of Death? Someone told me about it, and I think I couldn't have been like, I had to be like 10, 11, or whatever. I went to a video rental spot, and I was living downtown LA. Video rental spot that was downstairs, and it was like someone's son who was running a business. And I said, "Y'all got Faces of Death?" And he looked at me. He knew I was a kid, and he was like, I was like, did I get pulled into social media at that instant right there? Like, I'm laughing about it now, but I'm like, that's crazy. But now, I mean, it's almost like, this is how indifferent people have become, and just really how social media is. Even the people who say that they are sickened by the things that they see, they share it. It's just it's a wild time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm a big Bone Thugs fan. I love Bone Thugs and Harmony, and they had a ton of Faces of Death references on their albums.
Yeah,
so I still didn't know what I was getting into when I saw my first episode, though. You know what I mean? Like, certain things you can't.
You think you can handle it till you sitting there looking at this grainy VHS tape, and you're like, oh,
right.
That's really the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but just in general, we're all desensitized to this, and even as you have, we're talking about Charlie Kirk, and that scene looks something straight out of Mortal Kombat. It looked like Mortal Kombat to me. There's all kinds of, whether you're playing Call of Duty, whatever games you're playing, you have more lifelike violence. We're more desensitized because of that. I think that we've also been in this era where we have things like free speech being promoted in a crazy way. And in my opinion, in a lot of ways, very manipulative ways. But we have freedom of speech being championed over everything else. And with that comes freedom of expression being championed over that. And you put that on platforms who are now attracting people to or at least platforms who are attracting people to their platform by saying, hey, over here, you can say and do whatever you want. You're not going to have moderation. You're not going to have your revenue be demonetized because you said the wrong thing or you showed the wrong thing. And so there's a proliferation of things that used to be very difficult to get your eyes on, to get your hands on strategically, even as part of the content strategy, since we're all on the internet.
Yeah, there's definitely been over the last few years more and more characters, and not just in hip hop, but in politics and in relationship guru advice, people who have positioned themselves as, I am merely here to agitate you and to fill my pockets with your agitation or your agreement. Doesn't matter. You're going to be watching, you're going to be viewing. And I feel like every so once in a while, an event happens that that kind of shows people this is the possibility of what can happen, right? Even when it's going to sound like a crazy comparison, but I was literally talking to my barber today. I said, there came a time period where even like seeing, for instance, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, seeing him, gunned down in front of his business in broad daylight, as he's back in the same place that he came up in, right? That imagery alone, and seeing that, broadcast with I think it was the cell phone footage from, not just the cell phone, the camera footage from a gas station. It showed you like, no, people are still touchable. Like these figures, these larger than life figures are very much accessible, and these things still happen today. I don't know how it affects different people, but when I saw that hit me to the point where it brings you very close into reality, where internet kind of distances you from a bit of reality. And I'm sure this is for somebody, for people out here who are used to saying inflammatory things like that gentleman did say, even racist things and things that you just know are going to agitate a base. They got to be thinking twice. Public appearances and the things that they're saying. And I think there's been a lot of that that's happened. A lot of those figures that have been existing in hip hop as well.
I think that there is a difference. One of the framings around this that doesn't sit right to me is that this happened because of his opinions. I don't think that what he dedicated his life to were opinions. One, he was financed by the Koch brothers. He had multiple billionaire financiers behind his messaging. The enterprises he was the mouthpiece for have been working for half a century to roll back civil rights, women's rights, equal rights. They've been wanting to make government smaller, give money, public dollars to private businesses, move into an oligarchical space with Confederate policies. They've spent a half century pushing in this direction. He was he was an architect of Project 2025. So to me, these aren't just opinions. And away from that, homophobia, racism, sexism, especially when you have the ear of the White House and you're close to people who can legislate policy, these aren't opinions. These are ideologies. And in that regard, if you're going to go outside and call trans people demons all day, if you're going to go out here and say black women are too stupid to have a job, if you're going to go out here and say racism or MLK was a bad person or black people were better in slavery, you can go out and do that for your job every day and then still expect people to say, oh, that's fine, he's just talking. No, certain ideologies, it's just a different thing. And I think everyone needs to understand the consequences of the things that they say, they put out there, and how they dehumanize people, because people will react.
To your point, to that exact point right there, that's where I'm connecting it to a lot of the strongest personalities in hip hop or what has been, I guess the new version of hip hop media. When I think about the DJ acts, when I think about the Adam 22s, and I think about sort of how they get their highest viewership is generally during other people's downfalls, their low moments, their gossip moments, their beefs, and they kind of place themselves at the center of it. I imagine everybody doesn't think that it's just content. Everybody doesn't think that it's just the internet. And we've seen a lot of these things play out, specifically with a no jumper, in the way that's, the majority of their cast got wrapped up into all kind of street politics and Ricos. Who was I watching? Gilbert Arenas, of all people, who he has controversial, opinions about basketball, but I don't think enough for somebody to want to do something. He said, I'm not going back outside. And I know something about that, even though it's not related to the people we're talking about, something like that, I could see somebody having the point of view of, I didn't think something like this was possible, no matter what the politics of it may be. But that's got to show you that your actions on the internet, the things that you say that get spread, they're not saying it's a justified one, but there's a cause and effect in everything that we do.
I mean, we've seen that with Kendrick and Drake, right? We saw a Kendrick fan and a Drake fan argue for felt like a couple of days. I mean, these two bases have been very entertaining, in my opinion, as we've been watching the party night to keep it on theme. But we saw one of them bait the other one to show up to a chicken spot at 8 in the morning. At 8 in the morning to go catch a fade. My man OVO homeboy went to a chicken spot in Detroit, Coney Island, or maybe it was a hot dog place. I don't know what it was. Showed up at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's wild. Him and Tupac's ring. That's what the other one in. Shout out to Tupac's ring. That's
right.
What are we doing?
You know what I mean? It's like, it's away from just this particular battle. We saw that tragedy in Las Vegas, where those two guys are making diss videos at each other.
Mm-hmm. Two YouTubers.
Yeah, and one of them pulled up on the other one, murdered the man and his wife, and now he's in jail over internet ego.
Yeah,
that's why I don't play certain games with people out here. I don't be out here calling nobody out their name. I keep it to the content. You know what I mean? Because one thing I've had someone tell me before, ask me why do people care about other people's opinions on the internet, and why do people care about celebrities, and why do people care about these things, and how do I feel about it? And I think that people, whether that is a person, whether that is a religion, whether that is a sport, whether that is maybe an author that they fall in love with, as people, we attach ourselves to things that we feel, represent us, or, we have an urge to become a part of a team or a culture, society, or we get immersed in the ideas coming from our favorite artists. And when you get farther enough down that road, you start to feel like those things not only represent you, but become you. My grandmother had this roommate nobody liked. Her name was Audrey. She would only come around the family to annoy us with her Bible perspective. Now, my grandma was very religious too, and Audrey was an old white lady from the Pacific Northwest, and she had a different Jesus, I think. But they could have been a sitcom in the 70s, and it'd be pretty funny, right? And so Audrey, no one would entertain these conversations. And so one day I'm over there in the living room by myself, and Audrey comes in.
It's your turn.
She comes in with her white Jesus, and I'm like, oh God. And so, but this time I decided to entertain. I'm like, okay, let's do this, Audrey. Since this is what you want to do, let's do this, Audrey. Right. And so she's telling me things, and I'm poking holes in everything. I am investigating all of her questions. I'm asking her questions that might lead to other questions to see where she would land on the perspective. And I did this for about 23, 24 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I said, what do you think about that, Audrey? And you know what she said to me?
Uh-oh.
She said, I don't know, Justin. This is what I have. And if I don't have this, I have nothing.
What do I have? Yeah.
She said she has nothing. Her entire identity. And I left her alone after that.
Yeah, that's perhaps the most realist thing that she said after that. That was probably the most realist moment that you saw with her, huh?
Yeah. You know how hard it is for people to get to the point where they realize that where they can vocalize that.
Mm-hmm.
My point is,
even recognize that that's a thing to begin with.
Right. And so, like, you get to that, and that was a pivotal conversation that happened, and had to be in like 2005 or something like that, right?
Right.
But ever since that conversation, I don't push people too far. Just because I think something is nuts doesn't mean that I can't understand or connect with the fact that there's a human inside who has human reactions to people who test and challenge who they believe they are. And so there's a level of respect that I think that comes with how, generally speaking, just healthy discourse, regardless of what we're talking about and what spheres that we're talking about, period. But there's active energies and forces who are always pushing those margins for their own political gain and for their own selfish progression. And I think that people like that, you have to, people like that need to be very aware of what can happen.
Because we live in a time now that there's not the same hesitation that there once was that my grandparents told me when they said, you go on that date, don't you go talking about no politics, don't you go talking about no religion. These are topics that you say for later on. The things that used to be kind of like off the table in terms of conversations are had every single day before people have had breakfast. And because of the accessibility of social media, because of the opportunity that some people who are fans, it's like now the fans have found even their own celebrity because of how much more of a fan they look like than other fans. Like they have a fan base. There's a fan who is a stan of an artist that now has a fan base, and this is on any side that you think about. It's crazy to think about how that goes, because now they can actually benefit financially. They can benefit from social media metrics simply by being crazier than the other stan and displaying that on social media, and you get rewarded for it from the algorithm.
Yeah, and you get rewarded by your community. I mean, that's part of the theory of real social dynamics, which is a pickup artist term. There was a group of people in LA who wrote books on how to be a pickup artist, and they moved into this big house in the Hollywood Hills. It's called Project Hollywood.
The Negging guys. The Negging.
Yeah, the Negging guys. Real social dynamics, right? Yeah. Now, I never read any of the pickup artist books, but I'm a big fan of Neil Strauss, who is the author of the book The Game, which talks about his experience going through that community and all this stuff. And it's really it's a very similar thing, because if you walk into a club, you walk into a bar, you walk into a function, whatever, if everybody and everybody there knows who you are and everyone says what's up to you, people who don't know anybody else there, don't know that many people there, to them, you really stand out. You're like, oh, that person knows everybody. That person must have some sort of social currency or social capital. And you see it with fans.
Yeah.
You see it with fan bases all the time. Like there's that person that is constantly posting about their artists, and then the artist actually interacts with that person. That person's clout just went all the way through. So now they can manage. Now they're like the gateway to the artist.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's real social dynamics, and it's also just part of being in a community, generally speaking. The entire Discord platform to me is that to a degree.
Oh man.
I mean, Laura Loomer is like that. Laura Loomer is a great example to me.
Yeah.
Like Laura Loomer, as I understood it, she was just a influencer. Then she ran for office, and she didn't win. And then she became Trump's biggest fan. Like I'd never seen someone who was a bigger Trump, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Trump got a lot of fans.
I'm just laughing at that being a title, like on your resume, like, these are the things that I've done before, and
Right. And so she's been able to turn that into political capital.
Wow.
There's just the era that we're in is still community oriented, even if we feel more, or technically are more disconnected than ever. And it's very easy to fall into spaces where you're using your powers for evil and dehumanizing other communities, or deriding other communities, or going to war with other communities. And that can have a very real world effect. And there's a lot of different. We saw a homie pull up at the Detroit chicken spot for breakfast, the fries for breakfast guy. We saw the Vegas example. Vegas example. And, obviously we're still waiting for more information to come out with what happened yesterday, but I think that's another example of it too.
These are hopefully, you would think these are hopefully wake up calls for folks that have been so desensitized to thinking that these things can't have real life implications or real world implications. But with that said, man, you ready to revisit this song? Like I listened to it one time, but I was like, I'm gonna ruin it. I was like, let me listen to it again with great detail today.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to give full disclosure too. I don't think I've heard this song since the week it came out.
Really?
Yeah, because we were talking about it the other day, and I don't think it's not. Is it on streaming? I don't think it's on streaming.
No, I think because of the sample, I believe so.
Right. So I haven't. This is going to be a real refresh. A real refresh. I haven't listened to this in a minute.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm glad to do this. Make sure that y'all hit the like button on the way in here. Greatly appreciate everybody that is here. Been looking forward to having this conversation. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Okay, look at me learning StreamYard a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to it. And then what I wanted to do, just so you guys know the format of it, we're going to listen to the song all the way through. I'm not going to stop it. Just in case it gets flagged for whatever reason, I can just cut it out the stream. But I do want to go back to the lyrics because today I came prepared. I got some notes. You know what I mean? I'm not just operating off of vibes. You feel me? Like I got some notes today.
Okay.
Come on, man. Look.
Okay.
Look at you rubbing off. Look at you. Look at your professionalism rubbing off on me.
I feel like we're back to school.
You know what? Lately it feels like it. I have been in here. I'll talk about that later. But I've been in here really, really studying the craft of writing as an artist in a different way than I've ever done 20 years into this. But with that said, Kendrick Lamar, Watch the Party Die. 1 year later, let's listen to it.
Watch the party die. The shit that got too wicked to apologize. It's different, get them whacked and disqualified. We even kill the killers cause they like taking innocent lives. Burn a whole village, we start over. It's really that time. Why reason with these niggas if they can't see the future first? Why argue with these clowns if the circus is well at work? Just walk that man down, that'll do everyone a solid. It's love, but tough love sometimes gotta result in violence. If you parading gluttony without giving truth to the youth, the graveyard is company. Just tell us what casket to choose. They party more than bitches. Tell me what are you working for? They glorify scamming, you get chipped over this credit card. Influencers talk down cause I'm not with the basic shit. But they don't hate me, they hate the man that I represent. The type of man that never dick ride cause I want a favor. The man that resides in patience. So where the soldiers at? The ones that lost it all and learned to learn from that. A thirst for life, head inside the book cause he concerned with that. Information that'll change his life because he yearns for that. Dedication, finding out what's right cause he can earn from that. I feel for the women that deal with the clown and nerd shit. Can't blame them. Today they ain't really got much to work with. How many bitches harder than a lot of you niggas? Will trade all of y'all for nip. I can't be proud of you niggas. God give me life. Dear God, please give me peace. Dear God, please keep these lame niggas away from me. Dear God, keep me shining. The fuck do they really think? Pocket watching, you must be the police. God bless these words. Dear God, bless how I think. Dear God, draw the line. They trying to confuse them with me. Dear God, please forgive me. You knowing how hard I tried. I think it's time for me to watch the party die. Get them gone, we go watch the party die. Send them home, we go watch the party die. I think it's time to watch the party die. Street niggas and the corporate guys, the rappers that report the lies. I need their families mortified. We can do life without them, get their bodies organized. Tell me if you oblige. No more pillow talking, jump starting neighborhood wars. Dirty macking bitches because your spirit is insecure. The flashy nigga with nasty decisions, using money as a backbone. I want his head cracked before he's back home. The radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Let me know when they turn up as a casualty. I want agony, assault and battery. battery. I see a new earth filled with beautiful people making humanity work. Let's kill the followers that follow up on popping mollies from the obvious degenerates that's failing to acknowledge the hope that we trying to spread. If I'm not his vote, then you need to bring his fucking head or film that shit in high res. God give me life, dear God, please give me peace. Dear God, please keep these lame niggas away from me. Dear God, keep me shining. The fuck do they really think? Pocket watching, you must be the police. God bless these words. Dear God, bless how I think. Dear God, draw the line. They trying to confuse them with me. Dear God, please forgive me. You knowing how hard I tried. I think it's time for me to watch the party die. Sometimes I wonder what Lecrae would do. Fuck these niggas up or show them just what prayer do. I wanna be empathetic, my heart like D1, but I will these devils out the way. Heavy metals on my sword, we settle hard disputes today. The ghetto Hollywood divorce, say hello to your future fate. The culture bred with carnivores, you let them snack, they eat your face. The signatures is being forged. They wonder why I'm not enthused to drop. The more visible you get, the more your spiritual is tried. It's cynical to say I know these artists petrified. The end result in jail by Jezebel, the drug up full of lies. Critical, I know my physical is tested all the time. I'm pitiful, sunk in place soon as I'm questioning my pride. I'm seeing ghosts, blacking out, relapsing one thought at a time. I spend no feelings that ain't mine. I'm in my feelings when I slide. I mean, a nigga wonder what Lecrae would do. Terrence Martin said I'm mentally with layers, true. I flood the market with my best regards. I paid your dues, and so it's up if you ain't one of ours. It's bad news. My nigga Jay Estrada said I gotta burn it down to build it up. That confirmation real as fuck. It ain't too many real as us. Locking into what I trust. Looking outside, the kids live tomorrow. Cause today the party just
That's goosebumps, especially today, man. That's
Crazy. Crazy.
Man, something, and I definitely get to your thoughts first on this, but something I've been really thinking about is, to me, sometimes the signs of a classic song, the songs of a classic verse, the signs of a classic album, let's just say a song individually, is when a chorus can hit you at different times in your life and stand for something completely different, right? Like you could have the same song that hits you when you find the love of your life, or when you lose a friend, or you lose a loved one, and it still is relevant to what's going on, not because it's just so broad, but because it has so many ways to look at it. I feel like this is one of those songs. The way that he ends this song, I think the party just died. I can only imagine how many people are feeling that in a completely different capacity after the events of yesterday. I'm seeing them on my timeline, but this wasn't even supposed to be commentary about anything outside of the culture, Black culture, hip hop, and just things that were happening. At least that's what I thought it was at the time. But to me, those are signs of someone that's really tapped in on a spiritual level, because that chorus can meet people at very different times of their life. What's your kind of initial reaction now after hearing this and taking it all in?
I mean, I think, again, Kendrick is one of these artists that whatever he's talking about, at least for me personally, whatever he's talking about, it always ends up connecting to something bigger that I'm thinking about or experiencing. Just from a personal level. Like that song XXX to me is all about millennials. Now, he's not talking about millennials, but I listen to it and I'm like, dang, man, that sounds like the stuff that my generation is going through, And I listen to this song. And it sounds much bigger than just hip hop and the battle to me. I think it probably did even then, just given the broader themes, the religious connotations and references that he's making, of course. But I also look at this as a great statement about the changing of an era, whether that's hip hop, whether that's what the energy was going to be like going forward. And look back at a year ago. I don't know how surprising it was or wasn't that, Trump we're going to have a change in administration, right? Anytime there's a change in administration, there's always some broader change that generally happens. We were already there was already a genocide in Gaza, in Palestine, right? That was already taking place, right? Ukraine was already taking place. Just from a global positioning standpoint, these are all macro events that will have an impact on everybody, most people on the planet, right? From an artist standpoint, these conversations about Do we need the industry? Do we not need the industry? Does the industry add value? Does streaming add value? Forging your own path has been at the forefront of what's happening in music spaces. For at least, I don't want to say at the forefront. I think it's probably more at the forefront now. I'm watching Lizzo brag about having a website where people can find her audience, find her music. Like it's 2025, Lizzo. The Beastie Boys did this in 1992, guys.
What's funny about you bringing her up is that as we're kind of going back through these lyrics, there was some things that were said that's now reminded me of the conversation. There's been so many mini conversations. One being that hip hop is, some people like us see this year and get celebratory about all the amazing music. Some people in media and just different places will be like, this is the worst year. It's so boring. And you hear those narratives. But then also Lizzo says something along the lines of why she believed that music why we didn't have a summer song. And her argument was that everything is so algorithmic based and that the labels don't have the same access that they once did to what the algorithm is. Social media tech companies are the ones that determine it. I got a video that reacts to that really speaks to culturally a deeper disconnection that may be happening. We'll talk about that when we get there, but it's funny you bring her up. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah. I mean, we're in, we've been in times of changing times for a while. And I think everyone knew that a light switch was hit after COVID. And we're still coming out of that malaise of what the world looks like. People don't even go outside. Not in the same way. Kids don't drink. There's a generation that can't read. They're in college right now because they had to take Zoom classes. You know what I mean? And so whatever was happening prior to COVID could also be the party. And whatever we've been trying to hold on to by fighting to go outside, not wanting to be in quarantine, all like, just human nature types of things. I'm not, pointing at anybody who feels on either side of that. But, that's also a time where we all had an opportunity to, well, collectively, the world had to reflect to a degree. And what does the world look like after all these things? And so this song, away from all the obvious things that I like to think he's talking about Drake, I like to think he's talking about certain podcasters. The things I like to think that he is talking about. Right. Away from that, like the macro stuff that I hear in that song, hearing it right now for the first time in a long time, it takes me to just the collective human experience we've had this decade, if not the majority of the century.
Yeah, I think that's something that Kendrick, especially the last few years, he's always kind of, went to the beat of his own drum. But this year in particular, I don't know if I could name any other rappers outside of maybe like a Jay-Z who would be able to have such a massive win and say close to nothing until it's absolutely necessary, whether that's sitting in an interview with Ebro or accepting an award at the Grammys. He skips the Emmys as he's winning an Emmy in the same night that he's winning a VMA, and he skips but he's still.
I want to make one quick point on that. Sure, I respect that so much.
Same,
because he showed up at the Clip Show and he showed up at the BET Awards.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. To counter that, he did. He sure did. Yeah, well, I hope it ain't the last BET Awards, but if it is, that's even more crazy because of all the stuff that they got going on. Because didn't they cancel that from moving forward? The BET
Hip Hop Awards and Soul Train Awards, definitely. Those are indefinite hiatus. I don't know if they canceled the BET Awards, if they've announced that officially, but those other two are. And look, I watched the VMAs the other day. Lady Gaga performed. Ilya Gross and somebody performed in Germany. And, my bad, Post Malone performed. And what they did was they cut to those performances. They didn't actually have them perform at the VMAs.
Right.
They cut over to it, right? Now, I think that's actually something I think a lot of award shows either are considering or need to consider because that just takes your production costs way down.
Yeah.
You just put some cameras where they are and cut to the stream. And yeah, we're all in some stadium and they're not actually in the venue. I guess if you're in the venue, maybe that you feel cheated a little bit. You're watching on TV too. But, but from a production standpoint.
I was gonna add to that. I'm like, nothing to me says we saving some money more than seeing the MTV Music Awards on CBS. Right. I know Viacom. I get all that. I do. I get the parent companies, but that doesn't sound crazy to you to be watching an MTV brand sitting live and premiered not on MTV where they showing ridiculousness for the 400,000th time.
God, he's
But
mad. I would love to have a show that runs like ridiculousness.
The amount of
can
money.
Can I create an IP like that, please?
I
don't have to do nothing but grab crazy people on the internet and show it forever.
Oh my God.
Golly.
Oh
Let
my
me find an IP like that.
He said he shows up for a few weeks during the year, and that's the rest of the year. He has all of that. That's crazy. That is crazy.
I mean, I wrote on Court Cam on A&E, which is still on.
Okay.
And so I wrote 3 seasons. 3 seasons of Court Cam. That's incredible IP too, because all the crazy stuff they get in the courtroom, all that's free information. You could there's websites you can go to that just have a bunch of camera footage from court cases.
Right.
and then there's 4 companies who take that and they just highlight the craziest moments. And we would just take those and then write episodes off of it.
Version of ridiculousness at that point.
Okay. But basically, that's A&E's version of ridiculousness. That's what happened. And then the host of the show, he shows up 4 months after we put together all the episodes and says, okay, what am I reading? And he sits and reads for 3 days. And then he goes away until the next season. Let me get some IP like that.
Must be nice.
That's what we need, Curtis King. That's the IP we need.
All you gotta do is let me know when, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll let you know if I hear something. But yeah, but with that said, it just shows you the state of things, and that even these massive companies, they're hit as well. Like, everybody has to do something different. Obviously, the prices of anything you can think of. Like, I went to fast food the other day, and I'm gonna get to these lyrics, but I went to get some fast food, and I just got food for myself, and that man said $24.
Yeah.
And I stared at the thing the menu that you look at and talk to him. I just stared at it for like a few seconds and then tried to drive off. I said, $24? What did I get? 2 combos, and that was, or 1 combo and a few drinks. It's just, to me, when I look at that, it's showing you that no matter what your party may have been, and when I think of a party being a place where, you know, the majority of the people there don't bring their problems from outside. They're getting away. It's escapism. It's a time to celebrate the things that you do have. We got drinks. We got ladies here. We got friends. We got all of this. And then you go back to reality. Well, it seems like that's what happened. What they said with the light switch after 2020 is that people started to see how bad the school systems had become, especially the way that they operated in those Zoom calls. And shout out to Afro Butterfly. She shared some stats that was just outrageous. There's so many parties, no matter what party that you pledge allegiance to, I guarantee you it's been affected by the events of the last 5 years.
I mean, I think a lot of people tried to hold on to pre-COVID lifestyle mindset energy. Mm-hmm. And I think now people are understanding we're just in a different place and are starting to move as such. Right. Yeah. Because the tragic part of that $24 value meal to me is that if you make you have to make $20 an hour to only work an hour to afford to dedicate 1 hour's work to that value meal. If you make $7 an hour, that is 3.5 hours of work.
Whew, 3 hours. Now I get a Big Mac. Are you
right? Are you crazy? That's insane. Insane. Okay. I look, there have been times where I have DoorDash Cracker Barrel before, and it tastes good. I do not think that needs to be the number one issue that a population in this country is concerned about.
Yes. Yeah.
You should be concerned that it might take you 3 hours to get a Big Mac and fries.
Just to afford it.
Let's be upset about that, guys. Yeah. And trust me, it's none of them brown and black people over there in the shadows. I promise you.
Hello. Golly.
Promise you.
Yeah, that's that. Well, that's why we had these conversations, and that's why you are such an important voice in these moments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not had an opportunity, make sure you hit the like button. We're definitely going to get into the conversation about the lyrics. Like I said, I got some notes here. I know you got notes, and I want to pull these lyrics up, and I just kind of get an idea of specifically, because everybody says the song's prophetic. They go to certain lines. And I really want to put that theory to the test. I still feel that way after listening to it today, definitely after going through the lyrics. But yeah, you ready to go ahead and break this down? I got this thing laid out line by line.
Let's do it.
Go ahead and go through it. So, I got this on my Google Doc right now. So it says the first few lines.
Wait, real quick.
Ahead.
I just had a lagging thought to something you said a very long time ago.
What's that?
What happened to OBS? I thought you was using OBS for the longest time. Now we're on StreamYard.
First of all, between people somebody in here said I look like Peoples Hernandez from Shaft. I take that as a compliment. Somebody else said, "Hey, Curtis, you ain't got no hat. Mind your business and my lighting that is making my forehead significantly larger." Third of all, Justin, not you too. You know what? It's just easier when you have guests. You tried to tell me, but you just reminded me how stubborn I was. Hold on, can I do this first before we jump into this?
Let's do it.
Justin didn't ask me to do this, but I want to do this anyways. I want to publicly apologize for derailing that conversation in Coach United last time I was in there. That is something that is very rare of me to leave a conversation regardless of my reasoning. We talked about that, but I wanted to make sure I publicly had an opportunity to, because I do appreciate what it is the original goal of that platform is. And you always looping me in. It's been every episode that I've been on there, but I wanted to make sure I said that somewhere because we haven't had like public conversation. We've talked, of course, behind the scenes, but more it's specifically to you because I do appreciate what it is that you're doing here. And the last thing I want to do is be a voice that that can be seen in any light as divisive.
Man, you didn't have to do that. I appreciate you doing that. Obviously, I look at Coach United like the purple tape. You know what I mean? Like Ray and Ghost. I've said this before, especially at the live. You're the one that gave me the idea. You suggested that I invite a group of people on, and which was perfect timing because I'd been trying to think about how to get into live streaming anyway. You know what I mean? So you didn't have to apologize. I take that moment more than anything else as an opportunity, even really that whole episode as an opportunity to get better as a moderator as well. And so, but from my point of view, man, that's you, my homie, or my dog always. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you doing that, even though you didn't have to. And life keeps on lifing.
It's okay, just as long as you send me that $20 that you promised me for doing it.
I'll send you a Big Mac. That way you'll get $24 worth of value.
That used to mean something, but we in 2025, and all of a sudden, that don't mean the same thing that it used to. That is crazy. Oh my God.
The same thing as you used to.
I sat there and I felt like I aged 40 years when he said that because I heard my grandfather's voice. They want $12 for a combination? Right. I said, I know you mad when you say the whole word. It's not combo no more. It's a combination.
It's one of those moments where you're like, man, I got food at the house.
You know what?
I got food at the
McDonald's
house.
At the house. You know what, Mama? You was right.
I do got food at the house.
I definitely got food at the house. What was I doing? Okay, so I got this broken down. I'm gonna be looking at two documents at the same time. So if I don't always keep up on one side, that's what's going on. But I got this here on Genius. And so the first few lines, I think there's a conversation here. And I got a little something here that I wrote, but I want to hear your thoughts. I think it's time to watch the party die. This shit then got too wicked to apologize. As someone that is an artist, that is a rapper, I understand the importance of them first two lines. I mean, that goes in pretty much any literature. I'm sure for the pieces that you do, your career as a rapper too, that we don't always get to talk about.
I wouldn't call it a career. Look, never made it to career. Okay. I made it to a hobby. Never was not, and truthfully was not trying to make it to career. I picked it up so I could learn more about it.
Right.
So the career is way too strong.
Right. Okay.
Career is like Everclear. It's like career is like Everclear. Okay. I was over here with water. You know what I mean? I didn't even make it to juice.
So you're adventure. Right. Either way, you as a writer, I think writers understand the importance of setting the tone with the first line, the first two lines. I think it's time to watch the party die. This shit then got too wicked to apologize. How you kind of dissect that?
I think that's the macro environment. And look, I don't necessarily want to. Part of my challenge with dissecting certain. I'm not saying this about this experience right now, but a lot of times when I'm dissecting stuff, I'm just saying what it makes me feel, how it makes me feel, And so when that line hit me, one thing I am tired of are false equivalencies, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like whether you're talking within rap, whether you're talking, politics, whether you're talking just broader culture, there is this urge to make everything the same. It's like same, everything's the same. Everybody's racist, and if everybody's racist, that means nobody's racist. So just move on and just take this shit. You know what I'm saying? Or like one of the things that happened with my video I did yesterday on Charlie Kirk is there's a bunch of people, I won't say a bunch, but there's a population of people in the comment section that I think want me to express remorse about someone who thought I was subhuman. That's a crazy expectation to me. Yeah. Not necessarily just for me, but generally speaking. Right. And so like I see the stuff with things that are happening with other people in the world or other situations. Mm-hmm. And they make a lot of times, discourse has gotten to the point where there's so much gaslighting in it that they want the victims to apologize. And I'm like, no, this is too wicked to apologize. It's time to watch the party die, guys. Whatever y'all used to be on. Nope. We ain't doing that one. That ain't happening. We're going to report accurately on what this is.
Right.
And we're not going to make, Charlie Kirk MLK. That's not what we're going to do.
That was
just because you guys feel like that. It's going to have that similar effect, but it's the opposite side of it. MLK was fighting against 400 years of oppression, slavery, subjugation. Mm-hmm. Charlie Kirk is fighting 15 years of his white friends not getting the best jobs.
I was going to say, and not to make it a tit for tat situation, but when you see the way that our people in these moments where they're taken out also in a very gruesome and public manner, how it's immediately politicized and they're immediately demonized without getting any kind of history on who this person is, what they've done, even in terms of the way that they show Black youth that have been murdered, and they'll show an image that has one kind of representation that makes the viewer say, well, I wonder if he was in a gang. And it has nothing to do with that, right? Are you good? Okay. My son will be joining me today. Nothing to do with that.
Yellow diamonds look like PP.
Yeah, that's his right now. He ready to decompress. He just got home from school. But then you see the opposite, where it'll be a Caucasian kid that is literally accused of murder, and they'll show him in his tennis uniform looking very studious and very academic. And it's just like, you see that kind of propaganda and programming, and you see that it's not what the empathy that they're demanding of people like yourself and myself is not evenly distributed on both sides. And we obviously know why that is for them. But it's interesting to see where it's like now people are like, no, I demand that you feel as sad as I am about this. And it's like, I didn't forget what was said. Empathetic as a human being, as a man of God, as a father, as a husband. It's horrific. I can't even imagine that being seen by my child and my wife. But I'm not finna act like all of a sudden it's time to celebrate anything in this situation.
You made a great point there, right? You take an athlete who might have Michael Vick. We'll use Michael Vick, right? Whenever they talk about Michael Vick, for a long period of time, whenever they talked about Michael Vick in a celebratory fashion, they always had to remind us that he also fought dogs, right? He had a dog fighting ring. They always had to remind us that for a very long time. Well, we'll see what the next 24, 48, 72 hours look like. Mm-hmm. But all the major media outlets have been covering what happened yesterday. They won't show Charlie Kirk actually speaking. They just show him and kids around him, and then they describe the impact that he had.
Yeah.
They're not even pulling out quotables. My man was a quote titan. His quotes did a great job, in my opinion, of brainwashing young men at impressionable ages.
Right.
They're not showing his words. They're describing the impact. They're describing how the people who love him feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is completely washing half the story here. In my opinion, 90% of the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why was he popular? Mm-hmm. What kind of things was he saying to become this influential?
Yeah.
And more importantly, why are you not just showing it then? You don't stand by the things that he's saying? Are we hiding those things?
Right.
Normally, they don't want to show the exact, they don't want to show the bullet going through the body, things like that. I understand. Sure. I can't remember the last time I've seen this. They didn't even do this with Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh, they would tell you some crazy stuff Rush Limbaugh was saying.
Yeah.
With this one, they're trying hard to make him look like he wasn't a hateful, evil, bigoted person whose entire career was dedicated to dehumanizing everyone who wasn't a white man.
Mm-hmm. And they're in I guess in essence they're overdoing the humanizing of him.
Well, he is necessary for their party. Their party can't die.
Yeah. Ooh,
they have to have titans.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
Sheesh. Continue. I'm sorry, I had to hit the button for that one.
Yeah, they have to have monuments and titans and people that they can uphold as representing their movement. That it's the same thing they do with Confederate statues and whatever. They don't really want to tell you it's states' rights. Don't worry about the details. But Robert E. Lee, man, he was a great general, even though he lost. As far as I know, Robert E. Lee is 0-1.
Right. They don't present that to the other side of the people that they try to demonize. Like there is not that instinct to, well, let's think about, can we talk about this man's faith? Can we hyper focus on his faith? That's all I've been seeing. And that's a great thing to highlight. I think that's a great thing to highlight for any human being in these situations where you're wanting to get an idea, a broader zoomed out point of view of what that man or woman stood for. I just feel like that is not applied all the way around. Now, should somebody, in turn be as heartless and cold as these folks may be in these moments, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the forced empathy. I wouldn't want anybody to have forced empathy for me. God forbid anything happens. I don't want forced empathy if I have said things myself what I know we're going to purposely get a certain type of anger or reaction out of you, because the name of his tour was Prove Me Wrong, if I'm not mistaken. That was the first Prove Me Wrong tour.
And the logo had a Nazi lightning bolt on it.
Did not
on
see
the
that.
flyer, on the bottom right hand of the flyer. It's like one of them Nazi lightning bolts with the American flag on it.
Wow.
They're up front. They're out loud.
Yeah.
I don't think it is in bad faith to describe the person who's passed away, regardless of what it is. In this case, regardless of how people look at him, this is his life work. His life's work is so polarizing that in all of these memorials we're seeing, or all the news coverage, they can't show his quotes. They can't show him speaking.
Yeah.
That's a different environment. You know what I mean? This is where this shit is too wicked to apologize. I don't think anybody should be feeling as though they have to meet in the middle on things that, if the other side had its way, you wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they continue to say.
Here's a name, and I know especially the ladies in here may not be happy about me bringing up this name, but a polarizing name is Kevin Samuels, and it brings that memory up for me of when he passed away, how that was handled, and the type of stories that came out, and the things that the people wanted to highlight before. And although he did say some wild sexist things, and he did say some wild things, there were things that I think had some important substance for somebody with a platform, in terms of the way that he was telling black men to, uphold themselves and to dress the occasion for the type of places that they want to go in life. And there was a lot of things that could be highlighted in the same way now that they're trying to give you one point of view of, this gentleman. I didn't see that happening so much, especially not in the media. All the conversation was about how he was out and how this, but the same thing, it existed. Those, it's funny because all of the things that that we talk about that are the worst of Kevin Samuels, I saw that get 10 times highlighted during that time period. Not saying that it shouldn't have been highlighted. I'm just saying that it's not handled with the same type of focus and care.
I can't remember who was president when Kevin Samuels died, but I know that no president announced that Kevin Samuels died. Our information came from Trump. Trump told us Charlie Kirk left. Trump lowered the flag to half-mast. Trump is flying the body to Phoenix in Air Force 2. You know, he has become, he's a political totem now. I mean, it's his career, don't get me wrong, but he has been fully embraced and championed by half the political elite. Mm-hmm. Like he's a marketing ploy at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and that's unique just in itself.
To me, it's insane that we just got to the first two lines and we've had that kind of a conversation. But this is why I had Justin on.
That's what Dot be doing. That's what Dot be doing.
Can I share what I wrote? And this was more so like, I promise the conversation today, although it'll touch on broader topics, I do think enough has happened in hip hop to kind of have these type of conversations about Watch the Party Die as it relates to the state of hip hop. This is what I wrote. I said, before this year of standout hip hop releases by artists like Kendrick himself, The Clips, Raekwon, Ghostface, Chance the Rapper, Mick Jenkins, JID, and so many more, regional inspired music too, by Joey Badass versus Daylight versus New York versus LA, the Metro Boomin and Future Summer album. Rap music was on the decline. I did a story about it where I think it was Ebro that said that major labels were deprioritizing the signing of rappers moving forward in place of Afrobeat artists and Latin artists, I think it was. Rap music was on a decline. And I said it was due to decisions of a lot of major labels positioning and promoting rappers with very narrow subject matters that went from drugs, prescription pills, lean, murder, suicide, scamming, gambling, womanizing, over-sexualization of women, and the most degenerate topics you can think of were being promoted on a mainstream level. I said, although these topics are not exclusive to rap or this era of rap, there was a clear imbalance in the game. These topics created a space for controversial platforms like No Jumper and inflammatory figures like Adam 22 academics to rise as instigating voices in hip hop media. These are my words. The media and music became the soundtrack for idiotic antics on social media. For years, mediocre influencers were celebrated arguably more than many dedicated and talented artists above their messy shit. That's kind of what I get in terms of just the first initial thoughts that come to mind of the shit and got too wicked to apologize. Like there was so many things that folks were looking for you to just excuse and be like, oh, you sound like Unc, bro. Why are you complaining about these things? Because these things have lifelong implications. Like you can't think a culture is going to survive if it's being moved in this way on a mainstream level.
Yeah, and I think it works the other way around too, right? They've done too much wicked to apologize and everything is cool again, right? And I think that connects with the thesis. I think that thesis comes around at the end, where or maybe it's the beginning. It comes around later, where he's basically the everybody can't go sentiment. You know, it's like, yeah, dog, I'm sorry, man. You done fucked up too much this time, dog. It's above me now.
It's above me. Exactly.
You're too wicked to apologize. I can't take that one.
You had your chance.
Wait, how many feds pulled up? Oh man, I'm sorry.
Wait.
I can't be going to that studio.
How about this? The feds pulled up again, Justin? Oh no. So you didn't learn from the last time. It's different. Get them whacked and disqualified. We even kill the killers because they like taking innocent lives. Burn the whole village. We start over. It's really that time. Why reason with these niggas if they can't see the future first? Why argue with these clowns if the circus is well at work? I want to stop it right there.
I like that part too.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that? How that pertains to where we at?
You know, I think. Let me look at this again. You know, I like the sentiment I get from this part right here. More than anything else is that this really does feel Like, okay, bear with me. Right.
Mhm.
But earlier when I was talking about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, when I saw the rollout for Kiari, Offset's album, and he's sitting there in therapy,
Right.
and then I watched the whole Young Thug interview. Big Bank did his thing.
He did his
Big
thing.
Bank, he did his thing, dog.
Yeah.
Did his thing. That was
He asked some
amazing.
tough questions. He asked some tough questions where many people would have been very, very soft, like careful around the edges. It had to be him.
Well, also the setup from the journalistic setup to it.
Mhm.
Right. I don't even think Thug knew where this was going to go the same way. And based on some of his answers at the end, I don't know if he really understood that's what happened to him. But setting it up at first, forcing Thug to talk about his life as a kid, forcing him to describe the trauma that he experienced, watching his brother die, watching his mom hold his brother's hand and all that stuff, forcing Thug to get to a human place, you know what I'm saying, how Thug became Thug. And then you get all the way to the end. He said, but you hurt though, man. Like, but you're just out here wearing the mask. You're out here acting like you're not willing to let everybody know you're hurt. He said, I didn't know I was hurt until I sat down and talked to you.
Woo. Yeah, that was a moment. That was a moment.
I was like, that's incredible, a host of a conversation. But now Young Thug is talking about therapy. He's like, he literally says, yo, how am I supposed to deal with this? I don't know. I'm asking you. You my big homie. I'm asking you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is so real. That is so real. That's exactly the, obviously I think that's the overall theme of Watch the Party. I mean, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why Kodak Black was on there.
Yeah.
That's the energy that Kodak is capturing. You know what I mean? And so we're at one of those junctures, in my opinion, where you either grow and evolve or you get rolled over or left out. And Thug is right at that line. He might not have been there before, but these are guys that showed up at the end of Not Like Us. That's like the thing about it. Wow. That whole verse of Not Like Us is having these epiphanies.
I didn't even think it's the obvious too, but I didn't even think about that till right now.
Look what's happening with Baby right now. He retired. Okay, maybe that's a play. He's got to wash his name off.
Y'all have that
but it's pretty obvious that he's been worried about being indicted all year.
Yep.
All year he's been worried about being indicted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look at what's happening with Future and Free Bands. They look good, but Future isn't used to this type of discord coming from the city he's the leader of at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these cats, Offset is maturing, evolving, and moving forward. We're seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Lil Baby's stepping away or getting indicted or running out of writers to help him. And then Thug is right on that line. And he still ain't out here apologizing. He still ain't growing into his situation. Like, that's what these lines mean to me. Because like all this information has been out here for so long. And we all have that choice. And it's really up to us as individuals to see the changes that to understand that the changes we want to see in ourselves and in life has to come from inside, has to come from us.
You know what's so terrifying about that is that Atlanta could have been one of 3 places that you could tell this story of colonization, right? It could be a few different regions. You could talk about Texas. You could even talk about some of the more Caribbean islands. You could talk about a lot of those and make a story about, you run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. He chose Atlanta though. And obviously we know that Atlanta has dominated the charts, has dominated the conversations around hip hop. But of all the places to have that be the center focus, and it's not like he downed the area. He was just like, let me give you the historical context of what is happening right now. And in the process of this, we get that song, and then a few months later, we get this one. That's like, let me also let you know the consequences of you not doing anything about it.
Right. All of this, I've said this about Drake a number of times, but I really think that this also applies to Thug so directly. All this could have been avoided if he was just a better person. I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I'm not saying he's not helping people out. I'm not saying none of that stuff. I'm saying the Barter 6, even being anywhere near a conversation about Wayne's bus,
Yeah, that's
all
wild.
the stuff he's talking about on the phone. Like I can't even connect to the emotional situation of sitting down, facing that much time, right?
Yeah.
But I can definitely understand having a crisis of faith, and I definitely can understand like even your girl, homie. You know what I'm saying? You talking about? I mean, like I don't just these are things that everyone has the opportunity to grow into because if we don't, the consequences are relevance.
Right. And I don't say what I'm about to say to take or shift blame off of those men having to do, the deep work on themselves to be better men. But I also think that that's a statement in a more, I guess, private way about the business that they're in, and that these are the type of conversations that you would hope would be happening with these labels that look at these artists as their investments to set this investment up. In my opinion, to set this investment up for long-term success, we probably should tighten up on these things. And I know that a label is not just one person individually that's sitting in there that's in charge of just these people's lives, but I feel like there is some accountability that should be shifted in that direction because they help to promote these images. They promote these videos. They get these folks on primetime TV and all their relationships they have, and they benefit off of it financially. Like your hands is dirty in this as well. I'm just looking at this now and I'm like, they even got a little bit of that work when you started to see the massive layoffs.
Well, I mean, in this case, let's drive into this idea. In this situation, right, with these artists, who would you view as the label? Would you view Universal or Sony or Warner, the upstream, as a label? Or are you looking at QC or free bands? Like, who's the label here?
You definitely got to start with the artists themselves first. Then you got to start to who's the immediate family, right? So those labels that they came up with, the ones that are with them day to day, that they're having communication with. I'm saying broader, there are companies, and those are the ones that I'm really pointing this conversation to, the UMGs. There are these companies that this is not their only rodeo. This is not their only project. They got multiple labels of dysfunction. And at some point, it's like you're either attracting the dysfunction on purpose or you're looking for dysfunction and you're platforming it. At least that, you know what I'm saying? So when I see that, I'm also saying to myself, okay, these things keep happening to your employees. Some of them are losing their lives, some of them are overdosing, some of them are, going crazy on social media. I'm not saying I want them to censor anybody or tell them how to run their life, but financial literacy, is that crazy to ask for from?
One thing that people don't realize is that if you're assigned to a major label, you actually do have access to healthcare, and it's
I think you told me.
Yeah, you actually, like, a lot of people just don't know, like, some of the things that are there. Two, I think depending on what level of label we're talking about, a lot of these labels are at a certain level is just, here's the money, we're entrusting you with this investment. How much money you gonna bring back? Do what you got to do to go ahead and do it, right? I mean, I look at Top Dog that way, right? Like TDE will do a deal with Sony, or they'll do a deal with Universal, or for whatever artist, and they basically give them the money to put the music out and to make the impact, right? I mean, that's pretty much how that works more than anything else. And then they're like, oh shoot, we gave Top $2 million, he came back with 10. Okay, shoot. Well, next time he said he won 20 this time. Let's do it again. Shoot, let's keep flipping. Let's keep doubling it up. Is that the same thing when you give it to QC? Is that the same culture or infrastructure when you give it to free bands? Is that the same culture infrastructure when you give it to Dreamville? Is that the same? Whatever it is. Like, I think there's different levels and ways to look at that. Now I've been on the label. Not as an artist, everybody. My raps never made it past water.
It start look. I brought it up one time. You talked about it more than we ever talked about it ever. Look, on.
Right.
It's all happening.
It's all happening. But when I worked at Empire was getting all the criticism. Right. Empire was a little different because Empire has the distribution. Right. And so you had XXX was murdered, Dolph was murdered, Mo3 was murdered. There's a bunch of different people. Right. And one of the biggest criticisms that came out of that was, oh, Empire only likes murder, death, kill rap. they're only putting money into murder, death, kill. King Von was murdered.
Right.
All these are empire. These are empire artists. Like just
King
strictly
Von was on Empire. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he was
Okay.
there. Right.
Okay.
So this is where I 100% agree with your point.
Mhm.
Because internally at different points in time with the staff is completely different now, but there were conversations about that amongst certain populations of people inside Empire. People were like, why are we only signing murder, death, kill rappers over here? I was over in the country space, okay? I went and found Willie Jones, and I was working with Willie Jones in content, right?
And not to say anything that compromises any kind of relationship, but I'm looking at that from the outside. I'm like, you're the one you're the one that I'm like, Justin, he's right there. Why is he in the country space unless you chose to be there? Like, why is he? This is the one that you want to have a conversation with because you there's been conversations you've had with me that have stopped me from crashing out, as a kid say. Like
I didn't know anything. I'll say this: I didn't know anything about country, and I'm always down for like a new creative adventure where I can learn something. Like that's really the stuff that I love the most. And that country experience now is priceless for the environment we're in now. I've been talking to all of my Nashville people. I'm like, dang, this is coming. Oh, that's crazy. But like the point is, I can see that I look at that as a different situation, right? Because Empire will give out, sub-label deals or whatever. But they're not a sub of a major. They're actually the thing, right? So they've, in a way, branded themselves around a certain type of rap that I don't know you can say about Universal in 2025. I think you could say it about Universal in 1998.
Right.
But these companies have gotten so massive at these same points, right? I mean, there's a reason Kendrick is on a major. There's a reason Kendrick went PG Lang and still did his deal with Universal.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that they did their deal with Keem wherever they did it, right? So my whole point to this is I feel like there's a way to manage this. I'll say this. I feel like I'm getting different enough outcomes to start looking at the sub-labels a different way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can't necessarily blame Universal for this. Now, if you look at Aftermath, right? If you look at pretty much the history of anything Dr. Dre, up until 21 Questions, there's no love songs. Dre wasn't making no love raps. Dre had chauvinistic, when I met you last night before I open up your gap type raps. And then you get 21 Questions.
Huh.
That just wasn't in the Aftermath brand. Okay. You didn't have no Calm in the Light. There wasn't no Roots type raps. It was we got no love for these hoes.
Can't be your Superman.
We can't be your Superman. We will be chauvinistic as hell.
Right.
We will gaslight the hell out these women, but we don't love these hoes.
Yeah.
And then you get 21 Questions, which is like the closest thing to it.
You know what I call that? Especially because there's a lot of artists who follow in line with that type of music. And I tell independent artists who send their music in, I said, you think you're making music for the ladies, but you're making music for the men who have the same avatar as what you think.
Right. That's like what's happening.
they say, and I know they say a popular phrase is scared of hoes type music. And I'm like, you realize you're attracting the red pill. You're attracting the dudes. Like you're gonna have a bunch of dudes at your show and try to figure out why is my love song got a bunch of dudes smiling. Well, you have echoed a lot of their very wicked opinions about women in the world broadly.
Yeah. Let me run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. You're all good. All good. Man, yeah. So I appreciate everybody that's in here. Let me go ahead and get to some of these super chats. Somebody says, first of all, thank you to the person that sounded like Peoples Hernandez. I do for my peoples, that's what I do. My peoples, you feel me? That's one of my favorite characters of all time. Shout out to that. But anybody else said something about somebody said, Curtis, just put the hat on. Put the hat on your mom. Leave me alone. How about that? Yeah, that's what I said. How about that? Leave me the hell alone. Let my scalp breathe for an instant. Jesus. Thank you, Scott, Fitzgerald, I should have known that was you. Tatted Reaper said, look at Curtis looking all fresh. I appreciate you. How's the jaw, bro? You can't ask questions like that, Tatted Reaper, without a little bit of context. That's a crazy question. That sounds like something a bully tell you. Hey, nice haircut. Nice haircut, Kurt. How's the jaw? That's what somebody say after they punch you in the face. How's the jaw? How's the jaw? But I thank you for that super chat. Oh, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Yep. Damn right. You damn right. You damn right. Hold on. StreamYard, get his resolution back. Don't do that to my guy. Shout out to Justin and Curtis for leading the culture to a high level. Come on. It's all good. Thank y'all for being here. Yeah, why they doing that to your quality?
Was that my man, I Got Fame? Was that I Got Fame right there?
Yeah, that was I Got Fame. Shout out to I Got Fame.
Shout out to I Got Fame, man. Big shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you.
Just in here, you know, I told Tatted Reaper, she said, look at Curtis looking all fresh. How's the job, bro? I said, you got to give context when you say these things. You can't just ask somebody. So that sounds like a bully who punched you in the face and said, how's the jaw?
It definitely sounds like you were a victim of something. I don't know if it was a car wreck, an off-color interaction.
Like, what did you do?
How's the jaw?
How's the jaw?
That raises a lot of questions. How is the jaw?
Oh my gosh.
What the fuck happened to the jaw?
What even be able to say if you
Why would someone need to ask how a jaw is? What transpired?
No, I didn't realize I had that big of a tooth sitting in the back of my jaw. And the day of the Culture United, I was coming out of that surgery, but we're good now. You know, as good as we're gonna be. So all right, let's keep it moving. So that was that part. In covering that line, I'm with you on the same thing. I think one thing I did want to highlight is that when he says we even kill the killers because they like taking innocent lives, burn the whole village, we start over. It's really that time. All I can think about is shout out to my dog, Easy Lantana, artist from Cincinnati. He made a video that went viral and I covered it. I even interviewed him about it. He was like, y'all ever get the feeling? He said, I was in the club and I was listening to some of this music. I was like, this is serial killer music. He's like, y'all ever get the idea? Like, we in here dancing to serial killer music. I got murder on my mind. And that's what people is drinking to, like really casually. It got crazy. And I think it got so normalized at a certain point that, mainstream rap had always had a space for aggressive music. But I feel like over the last few years, artists went from documenting their environments to glamorizing the worst and most violent stereotypes in the music. And it wasn't for an audience that necessarily looked like us. It felt like it was for an audience that was almost like looking at us as zoo animals to a certain degree, like looking at us through the glass, like, oh, is that what it is? Even if they're making these stories up, it just was an outrageous time.
I mean, I think, something Jermaine Dupri said a couple of weeks ago stood out to me when he talked about there's no space for objectively kids rap. Commercial music. Mm-hmm. Like there isn't like a bunch of kids songs that are made for kids, right? You don't have I missed the bus or a jump. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you don't have whatever raps Bow Wow or Lil Romeo were doing, right? You don't have that for kids, right? We got Chief Baby Do It, and he is murdering a lot of people at 17. Sure. We don't have that space. So that space doesn't exist, which means, let's say you're thinking about it in a rotation standpoint, what's happening on the radio or the playlist standpoint from popular songs. So you don't have a detour that takes you into that type of lane. And you also don't have like a whole collective with a bunch of successful people like native tongues in the same way, right? Mm-hmm. Or you don't have the various regions having different things that are coming out of it the same way, right? So you had, and you don't necessarily have rapping about rapping as a thing that people hear in big songs the same way either, right? Mm-hmm. So, but you still got today's modern era of gangster rap. like I love Bone Thugs and Harmony again. One of my favorite songs is called Mo Murder. Now, in my mind, did I think of it as a serial killer song? No. Do I think of it as a serial killer song? No. Now? No. But it fits the description. It's called Mo Murder. I can't run from that. But I think about like the range of the different pockets of music that gangster rap used to be surrounded by. You go turn on, MTV Jams, or you turn on Rap City or whatever, you see a lot of different types of rap. Or you turn on what's happening in urban music, you heard a lot of different types of urban music. Or you had stuff that's like for different age groups and things. So it just felt like a more rounded out space. And I don't think that's the same way now. And I think one thing that also contributes to that is social media presence, like, having how much time people connect to their artists through things that aren't just their music, obviously. And then I also think that just the super fan environment, right? Like, so now people have just become fans of somebody through social media or whatever story they're seeing, with all these various touch points. And that person that people seem to like a whole lot might be making serial killer music. And also there isn't all this other different types of variations of conversation that's taking place within that same genre that's nearly as impactful or popular, that is positioned next to these other sounds. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's way too much serial killer music if you're not going to have some non-serial killer music around it.
One point I wanted to make about that JD statement, that Jermaine Dupri statement, I was going to do a reaction. I ended up skipping it. But one thing to that point that I was thinking about is there's an absence of those kind of. I remember when Criss Cross were like the biggest artists, and I was a kid. Like, I remember seeing my homie, who his parents had money. Shout out to my guy Christopher Richardson. His family bought him a Sega CD. His dad had him a Sega CD, and he had the video for,
Sega CD.
You feel me? And he was playing a music video by Criss Cross, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. It's a CD.
Yeah.
Saying all that to say, the thing we did before we watched that music video were very kid-like things. Like we were playing video games. We were outside with the Stretch Armstrong. I really feel like kids are not allowed. Most kids are not allowed the opportunity to be what traditionally we have seen as kids. They're not allowed to be kids anymore. A lot of them are forced to take on responsibilities, or, they're exposed to things that, maybe at 10 or 11, I saw Faces of Death. That might be somebody as soon as they get an iPad in front of their eyes. I got a son. There's been times where I had to what part of YouTube are you on? Hold on, you back on YouTube Kids. We're not playing that. But to that point,
well, what part of YouTube was he on, Curtis?
The racist part.
See,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I heard. The thing is, they fit it into the kids program.
That's what
I'm saying.
It's
like,
that's what I'm
look, I'm like, wait, give me that tablet. So I ended up taking away the iPad specifically to get. There's an Amazon Kids Fire tablet or whatever, and it blocks everything. Plus, I have access. I know how long he's been on apps. All that stuff is on my phone. But I say that to say, a generation before. The generation before or after me, or whatever, the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, the Gen Zers, a lot of them came in playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas super early, or playing, GTA 5, and the young ladies, the young men are exposed to a world where they're just being raised entirely too fast. And I feel like the music that you would have been able to get off in the 90s, the innocent music, the Aisha, you can't do that now, because they're gonna look at you crazy like, nah, I want Sexy Red. I want this. Like, I'm not watching little girls who are dancing to the craziest, and that's no disrespect to Sexy Red, because she didn't do it for them, but it's just an odd time where, like, even like, and I love the success story of Gracie's Corner, but she had to dip into her trap bag sonically in order to make that work. And I think, to me, that's just a sign of just how different childhood is. The childhood experience is for kids nowadays as opposed to 20 years ago.
One of my favorite stories this summer is K-pop Demon Hunters. I've been talking about it every week on Chart Report, and it's a phenomenon. Have you seen it?
I saw the trailer poster on Netflix. I haven't watched it though.
Has your son talking about it?
Not yet. No.
Is he in the room? Does he have people in his school wearing K-pop Demon Hunter shirts?
I see more Minecraft than anything else, which I guess that's a loaded story in itself, right?
Right. So K-pop Demon Hunters is a K-pop cartoon animated film, and it hasn't reached #1 album yet, but it has the #1 song in the nation, Golden. right? And it has 40% of the top 10 right now is K-pop Demon Hunters, and
Wow.
it's a kids movie. It's a straight up kids movie.
Yeah.
Now I think
wait a minute, it's called Demon Hunters, and it's
K-pop Demon Hunters. It's a kid movie. It's a kids movie.
It's a kids movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, spoiler alert, it's like, you got to kill your inner demons in order to become successful in life. Like it's fun. It's fun to watch.
I thought that was. I have the you could separate the kids from the adult.
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, it must be some adult anime.
Yeah, nah, I mean, there's no like blood or anything like that. It's like you know what it's like? It's like the modern Gem and the Holograms. You remember Gem and the Holograms? Showtime Synergy. You don't remember that?
I was
Gem is truly outrageous, truly outrageous. Whoa, Gem, and they were going up against the Misfits. You remember this? Anyway, okay, I used to love this show. It's called Gem and the Holograms, and it was about a rock band, and then they played their earrings and become like a superstar rock band, and they had their superstar enemy rock band. That's what this movie is. K-pop Demon Hunters is basically Gem and the Holograms, but with K-pop, right?
Okay.
And so, but point is, here's a kids cartoon movie, has 40% of the Billboard Hot 100 right now. It's I think half the album is in the top 20, top 30.
Right.
And it's really connecting with young people.
Yeah.
Right. And so stuff like that gives me hope. It gives me hope that, like, despite all of this, all this early adulting, it seems like it's taking place online all the time.
Man.
Sometimes things can cut through in a real way in the space that we're talking about, because K-pop Demon Hunter is having like a real world impact. And it's not being, I want to say it's not being botted. Everything's being botted, but it's not being botted egregiously. And it's the entire, like, you go outside. I go outside. I mean, granted, I live downtown. I live near Little Tokyo, so maybe that's skewed perspective. But I see these kids with K-pop Demon Hunter shirt on all the time.
Maybe I've noticed it more. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Going to the little one-piece restaurant, you know what I mean?
Your world is different. It's different on this side of things.
It's a different world. But like, it's actually probably, in my opinion, it's the real song of the summer because it actually came out during the summer and became number one song in the nation.
Yeah, see, that's.
But I just want to say this real fast. Stuff like that gives me hope. You know what I'm saying? I think that just because we haven't seen success in that market, given how young people are growing up so fast, I think there's room for it. I wonder who's been targeting that market in the same way, or if they've just been giving young people, old people music or grown music.
Yeah, I'm definitely an optimist when it comes to these things. As crazy, as even sadistic and wicked as some of this stuff can get out here, I do feel like it opens the space for, like, the positive side, like the supremely positive side of the Gracie's Corner story, where she's out here doing like Broadway type of style shows, and it's reinforcing, like, even with my son, my son having the language delay. Man, shout out to what's the old girl's name? Can you say Dada? Let me say what's I know one of y'all know who it is. The white lady with the overalls. Oh my gosh. Miss Rachel. If it wasn't for Miss Rachel, it's crazy. Miss Rachel did a better job of helping my son develop his language on TV every day than his Zoom calls with the language instructor for kids.
That sounds about right, though, right? I mean, don't they say you're trying to learn another language? It's easier when kids are watching media in the language they want to learn.
This is my first go around. I'm here so I don't get fined. I had no idea what to expect. I knew it was a pandemic, but he looked at the Zoom call and he was like, it might as well not been real. He just didn't care. But that show helped him so much with his speech delay. And even to this day, like he still has little pronunciation issues. I look at that and I say, well, that could only be available in its time for that to be as accessible as a tablet. You have education on deck, and it's more enjoyable because the games are a lot better. The games that I had coming up that were fun educational games, they wasn't fun. Education was still kind of debatable.
The only one I remember is Oregon Trail. That wasn't even educational. That was just Friday.
The one I remember is called Solitaire. I'm just playing.
Right.
When grandma go to sleep. Grandma, rest in peace, grandma, when she went to sleep.
That's funny.
After she watched her Golden Girls. All right, let's go through. Let's go back to it again. All right, so I'm gonna kind of move here a little bit more.
Okay.
Into some more of the lyrics, but so another part of it here is just walk that man down. That'll do everyone a solid. It's love, but tough love sometimes got to result in violence. If you parade in gluttony without giving truth to the youth, the graveyard is company. Just tell us what casket to choose. I wrote here, this feels like it almost predicted the Atlanta rap fatigue that I call it, the Atlanta rap fatigue that the audience seems to be having. And specifically with somebody you brought up, with Lil Baby. At one point in time, Lil Baby, there's not him saying that he wanted to, there's a room, he didn't say it, but the rumor that he wants to retire is no surprise. I remember when he released Wham, and then all the streamers were like, this ain't it. And, even I think, like Academics was saying like, that's not it. This was the first album that we saw that was like, what is it going to look like post that battle? And it did not look like it was going to be good. Another one that we could even mention is like, Ken Carson, More Chaos. But I said with the lowest pure sales in years, could this possibly be signaling a fading appetite for flex, drugs, party type of themes in music? And that particular section is what kind of gave me that idea.
On that point, I think I feel like the overall prime directive of America is really great at selling sex and violence. I'm not sure how far away we're ever going to get from that, so to speak. Like there's a song by Jessie Murph called Blue Strips, and she broke up with her boyfriend and goes to the strip club it's a country song, by the way, doing Beyonce staccato country that the Nashville hated last year, but apparently they love when Jessie Murph does it this year. And it's basically just sitting here talking about like, how shitty her boyfriend was, so she went and got some pussy at the strip club. That's basically the song, right? And that song has been in the top 40 all year. Okay.
Right.
It was in the top 20 at one point. It's in the top 40 all year. I say that to say again, I think the prime directive is always going to have an ample dose of that. Right. Now, what I do see when I see this is waning stardom. And that's another thing with like your music has to evolve or people are going to outgrow the nostalgia they hold you in. Right. Like I'm not nostalgic for Kendrick Lamar because every time he shows up different. How many times am I supposed to get excited about Baby Thug 21 Future? How many times am I supposed to get excited about that song? Let me know if it's still a moment. Let me know if that's still a moment.
It's the same sentence in different fonts. It's like going on defont.com and you put the sentence in and they show you the whole thing. That's like we're looking at the same sentence.
The first song they put out was Dumb and Dumber, and the draw was Thug, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that song did pretty well. And then the rest of the album, Gunna's not writing for him. Gunna, Yachty. I mean, I know Baby can write, but he don't write to the level of these other guys, right? And then the next big moment was Money Over Money with Thug and Future.
Mm-hmm.
So we just had Baby, Thug, Future. And that was Thug's moment. Now for Thug's next moment, we got Thug, Future. Right? You go look at when they announce new albums, who's on it? Thug, Baby, 21, Offset, Quavo. Like it's the same people.
But it's not like the same people. But this time, Justin, we're taking on a theme of love and despair. But it's literally a new title generated randomly by ChatGPT. Could have predicted where this is going. Who's going to be on it? And it's like, what is new here? Nothing except for the titles.
Right now, there could be some money strategy behind it. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, okay, let's just keep these points and let's keep this all in house. People are gonna still rock with this, whatever. But I think that's got a big part of it too. That's a big part of it too to me. Where's the innovation in what you're talking about and who you're talking about it with? That's why the Young Thug audio of him trying to get Kendrick on there was so revealing. Not necessarily how he tried to pay him. He's like, oh, he ain't gonna be a star. Not everything that happened after he was hurt that Kendrick didn't want to do a song with him.
Right.
That's when he just started, chatty patty in like he was doing this whole time. But what I'm saying is the fact that he knew he needed to get Kendrick on the song lets him, in my opinion, it's an inkling or an example of, hey man, we can't keep doing the same thing the same way and expecting something different, man. It's diminishing returns now, man. Let's go get some other people who can help move things.
So to their point, they saw the possible ending of a party approaching, and we're in Thug, being one of those artists that are sort of the biggest names out there. He saw an opportunity where it's like, okay, yeah, we got to do something that nobody would expect, because everybody expects what we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like, like you want to support the crew. I get it, but at that particular time, especially given everything that we'd all collectively experienced within hip hop over the past 9 months at that point in time, 6 months at least, with this battle. Kendrick had put so many thoughts into so many people's minds about all this, about so many people.
Right.
It was a 20v1, and Drake is literally going at all these people and name dropping all these things. And Kendrick said in one verse, hey, actually, you know what? Thug and 21 and 2 Chainz and Migos, they all gave you your whole thing. You start thinking about things. Music is subliminal. Yeah. This is one of the biggest songs, period. You start expecting to hear something new from people. And I don't think that many people ready to show up with something different. And I think that plays a role too.
That perspective is hilarious, because now I can read it as Kendrick said, no, I can't be a feature on your song, but wait for this. I'm going to mention you on a song that'll be the biggest thing that anybody has heard in years, and the greatest diss song of all time, and your name will be heard much. You and everybody that you collaborated with.
And don't worry. I'm gonna compliment you on it. It's gonna be a compliment for you. Okay,
that's terrifying, dog. Like
compliment.
I wouldn't want no feature no more. I'll be like, you know what? Nah, you know too much. You know too much about what's happening next. I'm terrified. That's scary. Continuing on, the party more. He said, they party more than bitches, is what he said. Tell me, what are you working for? They glorify scamming. You get chipped over this credit card. I said the RICO trials and the scams got exposed. Right? When you party more than the bees, is what he said. I think about the Diddy trial, and I think about the way that the things that he wasn't doing that weren't illegal were still kind of questionable, very questionable about his character. It's like, yeah, you're consenting adults, but you're putting your lady through these kind of situations, and they're playing out in a very public manner. It's almost like he called this stuff a habit. And then you got next, it says, I said, also the YSL RICO case showed fraud and flex culture on steroids. And all of this collapsed right before our eyes and showed its real consequences. So it's scary, because it's almost like, as I read these lyrics, he's watching a movie and writing it down, and he's kind of narrating almost like Morgan Freeman. And he's like, Morgan Freeman is the wrong narrator. Who is the actor on Tales from the Hood? This ain't the Terradome.
I have no idea his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
He sounds like him
right now. I don't know
if
if I ever knew that cat's name, to be honest.
It is terrifying when you look at that. Influencers talk down because I'm not with the basic shit, but they don't hate me. They hate the man that I represent. I think about a lot of streamers when that comes up. What are your thoughts?
100%. 100%. I think but that makes sense, right? That makes sense. If you are about something, right, and you make your money presenting a certain thing, and then someone else is coming up and they're shifting the marketplace with a shifting ideology that is too far away for me to shift into to be competitive with. Well, now I got a problem.
Yeah.
Now we got a problem. Matter of fact, and anybody who's like that, we got a problem. Big shout out to Master Student on Twitter. I love Master Student's tweets. His tweets are amazing.
Yeah, shout out to him. I'll reach out to him soon. Yeah.
He's amazing.
Greatest threads out.
He said he's got a great tweet about this. He was like, everyone's going against Nas because Nas represents everything that the opposite of them, right? It's like Nas represents education. Niggas hate education. Nas represents, like, he goes through the whole list. I can't even do it right now. He's right. Nas is all about uplifting his people. Niggas hate uplifting their people. he goes through it like very well. And I think that I did a story on that on my channel. I was like, this is what master students say, y'all. This is great. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that that's part of why there's so much reluctance to people fighting the idea that there's a shift, because there is a fucking shift. Whether or not, you think that the shift is, going against what it is that you love or you espouse the most. Drake is a part of the shift, right? The sounds are evolving, right? Drake has put out 40-something songs, almost 50 songs since last year.
It's crazy.
Nokia is the one that hit. I like Nokia from the first time I heard it. Everything else is like searching or whatever's happening. And it's not, part of that shift too is, it's time for a shift in sound. Sounds shift all the time.
Just in general, yeah. Just
in general. And then at the same time too, we have a whole lost generation. We lost Nipsey, Mac Miller, Young Dolph, Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, Triple X, like the baby, like you can go through all of these people. All these artists were moving into their prime. Yeah, moving into the point where they would have been the next superstars up. You know what I mean? So you're missing a whole wave of incredible talent to pass the baton down to.
Yeah.
Right. And then now you've got people out here saying, actually, everything that you're about is actually whack now. Your whole history of content is now outdated.
That's crazy, man.
And now you're just a little too old to be cool to the next generation up.
Yeah.
Right. You're not over there in NBA YoungBoy territory.
Yeah.
Who got the most craziest shows. NBA YoungBoy right now is doing arenas full of black people.
Yeah.
Arenas full of black people as a new young artist. Who else is doing that?
Well, who else has had the restriction of not being able to tour after having the kind of
all kinds of macro things that are going into the storyline, like the compelling nature of seeing him in jail. There's definitely a lot of Pac-like elements in there.
That tension can build for sure.
Right. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about arenas full of black people.
Yeah.
Arenas full. Who else in rap got that?
Yeah.
Like almost period.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking anyone else's background. I'm not knocking other communities. I'm saying, You know how long it's been since rap and hip hop was arenas full of black people?
Yeah.
Almost exclusively.
That's the truth, though.
How long has it been?
The truth can't be disrespect when that's what it is. Some artists are so massive that they have their audience is everybody. It's so broad. But that generation didn't get their opportunity to see the sold out arenas for years from a Triple X Tentacion or from a from an artist that passed away. And it's like when you're missing out on all Juice WRLD, yeah, you're missing out on the Juice WRLDs. And then the person that is out here that you like, no, that right there, that's what represent me. I can't even go see him live because he on house arrest. And now he's finally out. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because it's something very, 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 besides, which is a big thing. Our people being out there in the arenas, he is doing something very, very different. And he's not doing this with songs that are dominating the radio.
He is built for this generation.
Yeah.
My man has, who was that? I can't remember who I was talking to. I probably should have said their name anyway, but my man was, he worked at the label that, it's just so funny to me. He worked at the label that Young Boy's on. This is years ago. And everybody would be so pissed off at fucking Young Boy. Pissed off at Young Boy. Because this motherfucker would drop like 2 songs a day on YouTube, right? For years and not drop an album. So they weren't able to get paid, but like they couldn't stop him, but they couldn't. It's just like, it's crazy. Even the way, like you look at how much music he put, like you give Young Boy like $1 million deal or something like that, right? And he puts out a project that's got like 20 songs on it, right? And then the next week, a month later, he puts out another project, got 20 songs on it. You can't really be that mad at him because Well, all his beats are like made in the bedroom. It's like every album only costs like $20,000. You know what I'm saying? Like he's making whole albums for like $20,000 and flooding where young people are. Like he's got that Soulja Boy kind of thing. You know what I mean?
He got an album. He got a whole album called Massa.
Right.
I had to fix the glasses I wasn't wearing.
Right.
I was like, let's go. Okay, all right, that's what it is. What it is. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that to me. He's in that superstar conversation, and that is like the most hip hop superstar right now of that era that I see. Right now, there's a lot of vulnerability in his raps. There's also a lot of serial killing in his raps. Whatever it is you connect to or you don't. That dude is doing arenas full of black people and has his own business model. That's crazy.
He had young black men out there shirtless and looking happy. Like they doing like right. There is not another time that you and I who are fans of, because I don't listen to a lot of NBA Youngboy, but I'm looking at them and I'm like, they've probably done this a million times in their bedrooms, at school, at high school, whatever the case. This is the first time they can do it in the actual place. We showing up, and he's going to all the cities.
Yeah,
and he knows his fans are hungry for it. But you know, I'm a little concerned for that damn Chicago show, because there have been some other things going on during that show that just like, man, come on, they need you out here.
Yo, that show, the LA show, he brought out Sexy Red. He brought out, I can't remember the other girl's name he brought out. Point is, I was looking at people in the Staples, in the crypto, and I was like, yo, these mugs look like me during the Hard Knock Life tour without the shiesty. Like that's what the Hard Knock Life tour arena looked like.
No throwback jerseys, just
right. It was just like an arena full of the black population of every public school in the city, all pulled up to go see the Hard Knock Life tour. And that's what this NBA Youngboy.
I'm missing that. I ain't missing that. That's
this Youngboy looks like. That's a special thing. And so I think, you know, at some point Youngboy is going to catch one, and then we're going to have Murder Death Kill on the charts again. Right. I just think that that ethos is always going to be there. I think that what we're walking into is people are going to have to round out their conversations, particularly people who've been here for a while. Because whoever's hanging around Youngboy right now is going to get an extra leg up, and they're coming quick. And so if you're Atlanta right now and all this discord, dysfunction, and y'all looking old and dusty because of that, it's time to evolve your conversations.
Man, can I first of all, can we celebrate my guy? He doing this on such short notice, and I want to make sure I respect your time. How you looking like on time?
It's 4. Dang. I probably got about like 15 more minutes. I got about 15, 20 more minutes. I do got an appointment at 4:30.
No worries. You know what? Matter of fact, let me do this. Instead of going back through some more lyrics, unless there was anything specifically that you saw, I'm gonna keep going through these after you duck out. But final thoughts, man. I do appreciate you, and I do appreciate all the insight that you gave here, because like I said, there's certain topics, especially not in the public manner, I'm not finna go moonwalking around none of those, because I'm bound to say something that I need to do more research on. But I'm glad that you were able to pull up today, so thank you,
man. Thank you for having me, man. As always. You know, I think on the topic of this song, "Watch the Party Die," again, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's another powerful touch point in how prophetic Kendrick tends to be. I'm prophetic. They only talk about it. I get it. Right. And I think we all have a little bit of that reflex inside of us. We just don't necessarily listen to it or ignore it, or we listen to it or we will ignore it. You know what I mean? Like, we know, generally speaking, the type of content we should be putting out. And a lot of times there could be risks that come with that, because you're worried about what other people might say or react to how you say something.
Yeah.
Right. But it's really important to make sure that we're just moving with positive energy. We're moving, you know, with an energy and a spirit that wants to help people rather than take from people. And I think this is one of those songs right here where it sounds like he's kind of struggling with that. But one of the things that always comes out of Kendrick's music to me more than anything else is he's always putting out stuff that, regardless if you like it or not, he's never trying to hurt or manipulate people through his music. And that's my biggest takeaway with this one, because this is one of those songs that really connects with me on a personal level. Listening to him talk about the struggles he has, deciding what type of songs to put out, who to rock with, and things like that. And some topics on whether it's a political topic or whatever, from a creator standpoint, we all run into that. And so I think there's also a lot of personal things as a creator we can all take away from Watch the Party Die, because I haven't listened to it in a long time, and I know I did, again, connected with me on a personal level here too, even if we didn't get to that.
Man, we hit about a good 20 minutes off the first two lines of that song. And that, to me, when I zoom in out of that and I just think about us having a conversation around lyrics, I know it's been beaten over the head on this channel a whole lot, but that's something I'm excited about, is that, you know, I think personally speaking, have always looked into the depth of lyrics when they present themselves as being deep enough to go into that. But to see that as an expectation that a lot of folks have, and to see how many people, like, you know, folks, shout out to everybody who jumped in here today. So we almost lost 1,000 people that came in today because they knew the expectation was, what things did he say specifically in the lyrics of this song that have come to life? And what are debatable? What are the fact that we're talking about, to me, what I consider high level lyricism, absolutely poetic works. And this type of context, to me, says no matter how chaotic and crazy the world gets, it's dope to see how prepared and ready we are, you know, as a unifying energy to figure the things that we don't know and discuss the things that we do. I think that's the dopest part about all of this. And that's hip hop at the end of the day, I think.
That's what it is, man. Hip hop is culture, and it's also community.
It's also community. That's right.
We can't forget about that part too, man.
Come on now. Round of applause for Justin, man. Come on. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you, bro. Shout out to the DIYers.
Come on. Shout out to you. It's all happening.
It's all happening.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna keep on going. I'm gonna keep on going. Let me go ahead and you know, check out everybody who gave to the super chat real quick. I really want to get through these lyrics because I wrote some stuff out, and I want you guys to be involved in the conversation. Thank you so much, Afro Butterfly, highlighting this. We do have a Discord, do got a Patreon, and I will be posting more content. I've been a little bit, you know, haven't posted as much as last week because of the tooth extraction, but we're still going to continue to go ahead through this. I was going to do this content today, but to me, these messages are way too they're way too important. They're way too important not to have, and I'm glad to have these with you guys. So thank you so much. Yeah, let's keep it going though. Let's keep it going. Let me go ahead and highlight some of these super chats before we dive right back into this. Hold on, before I get to that one. I'm so done with y'all. I'm so done. I love J Squared. The cut is sharp, my brother. Stay away from balloons. I see what you did there. At first, my brain said, why you calling me it? You trying to, like, my imagination already made this an insult, but you wasn't even insulting me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Miss Rec to you said, go and comb up them eyebrows, buddy. I ain't combing shit. How about that? I ain't combing up nothing to comb up your eyebrows. That's crazy. That's a crazy request. What you in there doing, combing my eyebrows? What you mean? Isaac, shout out to you. Just got in here. We'll watch later, but the Kill the Killers bar made me think of Pac's last verse on Heavy in the Game. Pull it up, fellas. Okay, definitely got to revisit that. Thank you so much. What else? Here you go back with the bad bro, the bad jaw. Tad Reaper has said, my bad, bro. How's that big ass hole in your mouth? That sounds even crazier. You literally must relax. My dedicated DIY community member. How's your mouth feeling after getting that big ass tooth removed? Nope. I ain't even going to address that. But I'm definitely with that. Retire Rochelle. I'm so sick. Beach Boy Dre said, is there any truth to Canadian Light Bright losing 8 billion streams? Ain't none of my business. Leonardo Thomas, them lights at his concert is set up for epilepsy. I'd rather go to the GNX experience. So glad it was my first hip hop show. Have you seen? You talking about NBA YoungBoy's stadium show? That them concerts are set up for epilepsy. Have you seen some of these young dudes' rooms and how many LED lights be? You know what I'm saying? Like, they be having YouTube channels. Have you seen the environments they're in? The amount of screens. They be doing reactions too. I'll be like, how do you focus in that room? And I know I got a lot of lights, but how do you focus? They be in there doing more than what the light shows do. But I appreciate everybody who gave to the super chat. Let's keep this going on. Let's keep this going on. So I got notes, and I'm gonna look at these comments as we kind of go through these, because now y'all are the guests. You guys are literally the guests with me. You are the guests with me. I have vertigo. I would not make it. I kid you not. When I was a kid and I learned what vertigo was, I started thinking I probably got that too. I was like, I'll be feeling a little bit off balance a little too, but I don't got it. But yeah, blessings to you. Yeah. So okay, let's get back into it. Because we definitely got to highlight this. This is insane. This is insane. Let me see. All right. So now where do we leave off? We're right here. So it says, influencers talk down because I'm not with the basic shit, but they don't hate me. They hate the man that I represent, the type of man that never deride because I want a favor, the man that resides in patience. So where the soldiers at? When he said that line, I remember we were reacting to it. I was like, yo, that sounds like he's activating some people. It sounds like there are artists out there that he's probably had conversations with and probably doesn't need to have conversations with to know, yo, where are my soldiers at? Because we need you more than ever. If this thing is going to act, if this party is about to die, somebody got to clean up, right? Somebody got to be there to help the people in the morning who are sobering up and realizing how absolutely dire the situation has become. Some names that come to mind over the last year, and I'm gonna highlight some of my favorites. Clips obviously have done so much artistically, have done so much in these interviews. They set an example for rappers as they get to an older age. I think that they have been the prime example. They have been men with integrity that have carried themselves in ways that I feel like they're doing so much teaching without being preachy. Mick Jenkins, another one doing amazing things with his, not only his skill set, but the way that he's maneuvering as a man out here and making sure that integrity stays first. Lil Russell. My apologies to Lil Russell. There's so many stories that I want to cover. It has been so chaotic out here, and that's not an excuse. I'm going to do more covering of stories, but he is somebody that continues to do the work. And he's somebody that I think is another one of those soldiers. Man, shout out to Chance the Rapper. He's been very vocal about a lot of the things that have been going on as of recent. He released a phenomenal project, and he is out there making sure people get to hear about it. JID is another one that did as well. Joey, for all the things that I've said on this channel about Joey Badass came to rap. When it was asked about him, he came to rap. Thank you, Tyler, the Creator. Yes, I'm with you right there, Fly Science. Absolutely. Tyler, the Creator, too. Right? He did what a lot of people didn't think was about to be possible with an artist like himself. And he definitely did not disappoint. So many. These are just some of my favorites. Who else? Raekwon, Ghostface, Daylight. Shout out my dog Daylight. Shout out Absol, who's on a crazy tear right now. Rayvon is another one that's been doing phenomenal things. These are people I think about when we're talking about where my soldiers at. These are the folks that I'm thinking about. Continuing on the lyrics, though, let's keep it going. He said, the ones that lost it all and learned to learn from that. A thirst for life. Head inside a book. Doechii. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me not stop. Gotta highlight the ladies. Doechii. Absolutely. Rhapsody. Got that vinyl back there. Rhapsody's another one that's been doing phenomenal work. Little Sims. Shout out to Glorilla too. I ain't gonna hold you. All of the beef and all of the bitter politics, this Cardi B rollout right now has me in tears. And I like to see artists that are not too prideful to promote their music. I love it. Now I was gonna say Iggy Azalea. Let's keep it moving, man. Let's keep it moving. Now you were just a disruptor. That's what you do. I know that's what you do. Samara saying, yeah. Don't even buy in. Don't even buy into the. That's what you call chat clickbait. Don't do it. The ones that lost it all and learned to learn from that. A thirst for life. Head inside a book because he's concerned with that. Information that'll change his life because he yearns for that. Dedication. Finding out what's right because he can earn from that. We in that time. Freddie gives another one. Absolutely. I feel for the women that deal with these clowns. I feel for these women that deal with the clown and nerd shit. Call me a panderer today. Ladies, you tired of the clown shit? The pop the balloon shit? The red pill shit? I know I'm sick of it. Had a conversation today. How many times do you see people push narratives and you don't know who the person is that's at the root of the narrative, and they try, at least it seems they try, to change your narrative and say, well, all women must be like this. All black women must be like this. All this, based upon these very narrow TikToks and videos that go viral. And then the ones that they use to represent all women, he got to be making 6 figures and he got to be a Fortune 500 gazillionaire. Like, stop it. There's a life outside. I'm so glad to hear that get highlighted, because while everybody's in shambles right now, you got all these we don't talk about that right now. I feel for the women that deal with the clown and the nerd shit. Can't blame them. Today, they ain't really got much to work with. Ugh. How many bitches harder than a lot of you niggas? That's a question. Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it. You know how it's like, when you writing a verse and you think about the next thing to say? He finished saying, I feel for the women that deal with the clown and nerd shit. Can't blame them today. They ain't really got nothing to work with. Then he stopped and he said, how many bitches harder than a lot of you niggas? That's the setup line. Then he said, would trade all y'all for Nip. I can't be proud of you niggas. One more time. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? When I see some of the influencers out here that pose themselves as relationship experts, that pose themselves as relationship gurus, and these are not the examples that I could ever see myself if I was a young and impressionable person. I could still not see myself as a teenager listening and following these individuals and saying, I can't wait to go get tickets to a Myron conference. I can't wait to go get tickets to a Myron conference so you can teach me about how to find me a wife. You niggas is lost. I'm sick just saying it out loud. I can't believe I said that shit out loud, but I did. Continuing. The point that I wanted to make about that particular line there is that female rappers, we mentioned a lot of them, hold strong as men around them collapse in scandal. Thinking about Young Thug, Diddy, and so many different others. Isn't that ironic that we see the rise of so many MCs? We see the rise of, and not like just one type of female MC, but we see different types of stories being told, different type of imagery. I love it. So then comes the chorus. It's just echoing the same thing. Let's get to the verse 2. He says, I think it's time to watch the party die. Street niggas and the corporate guys. I'm not just talking about you rappers. I'm talking about the corporate guys that fund y'all. The rappers that report the lies. I need they families mortified. How do y'all break that down? Give me some theories here. I'm going to look in the chat right now and I'm going to highlight some. Cam Cobain says, you think academics is one of those lanes. What else? Scarlett too. Yeah, shout out to her. Grind is incredible. Scarlett's grind is incredible. Both of them. Basically, you say you think Ack is basically hip hop's Alex Jones. That's interesting. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate you. Huh. That's a powerful line right there. That is a powerful line. Let's keep it going. I'm looking for your other theories in there. Feel free to just go ahead and we'll keep going. I'll come back to them if I need to. I need their families mortified. We can do life without them. They get their bodies organized. Tell me if you oblige. No more pillow talking chumps starting neighborhood wars. No more pillow talking chumps starting neighborhood wars. At the time of this releasing, I think many folks were thinking about not only some of the content on No Jumper and how many times they had a bunch of folks on there talking about street. In my 40 years of life, I'd never thought I'd see the day when certain street names like a Big U would be front and center on all these podcasts, and then politics that I used to hear about because of the artists that I work with that just so happen to be Crips or just happen to be Blood because I'm a producer. I never thought I'd see the day that those would be on podcasts and that some of those folks who are associated would be on cell phones telling the business that they're affected by in real time, as nerdy ass motherfuckers that have never been out here in the city are saying things that are inflaming issues between people, and they never got to deal with it. They live in some suburb, off in a place very, 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 very far away from LA, but they can find themselves inserted in the middle of the politics. That had to go. But at the same time, there's some accountability that it seems in that line that he's asking. No more pillow talking, chumps starting neighborhood wars, dirty mac and bitches because your spirit is insecure. At least say it to the person's face. Eesh. Now said, I hate that in Ohio, I know so much about Cali gangs. This is the time we were in, especially last year. This song is just as impactful as the first time I heard it, says Afro Butterfly, because it resonated the first time I heard it. Now, thinking about the pillow talking, isn't it even more insane to think about the things that were, and it's not necessarily pillow talking in the traditional sense, but seeing the things that came out about the phone calls from Young Thug, where he was basically talking about other people in the industry. And I'm seeing some people make some really good arguments. Like, shout out to my dog Deontay Kyle about, he was kind of explaining, if you ain't never been locked up, I ain't never been locked up. But he said, if you ever been locked up, you don't understand that those phone calls feel like the only connection you have to the outside world. And some people get on there and get overly excited about what they say on them phone lines. Okay. But for the small chance that you might be back outside again, and this is my opinion, for the small slim chance that you might be back outside again, even though most Ricos you don't get out of Ricos, wouldn't you want to make sure that you can take care of your business to a point where you wouldn't start any kind of conflict between people? But I think this particular song is highlighting something that people kind of knew, but didn't know about the industry, is that a lot of these folks don't like each other. A lot of these relationships are transactional. And that's what we're here. That's what we're here to talk about. We're seeing it in real time. And he talks about it in his song, which I think is insane. He says the flashy nigga with nasty decisions. That's some crazy inner rhyme work. The nasty nigga the flashy nigga with nasty decisions, using money as a backbone. Using money as a backbone. I want his head cracked before he's back home. The nasty, see, this is where I think people thought this whole song at that point, because of how close it was to the announcement of the RICO against Diddy, why they thought this was going to be just solely about him, but he is just merely one domino, it seems, in the things that have happened. He says the radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Let me know. Hold on, let me make sure I get this on the screen. So, because I'm looking at a different screen. He said, get back here. Sorry about that. All right, cool. So he said, the radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Let me know when they turn up as a casualty. The radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Personalities pushing propaganda for salary. You take away radio, and that applies to so many people out here, whether they're in the manosphere, whether they're in the political sphere, whether they're in the hip hop sphere. That describes so many people out here who have gotten away. Here's where my theory goes. I think for a long period of time. Hold on, my son's coming down. What's up, Pop? You good? Okay. I think for a long period of time, rappers thought that they were untouchable, right? I think for a long period of time, there's a lot of rappers who thought that they were untouchable. And I don't say that as any kind of taunting. I just say that I think a lot of rappers thought they were untouchable because you didn't see rappers getting taken out. This is not the era of Biggie and Tupac. You saw certain rappers, especially locally, that went back to their neighborhoods get taken out. But when you saw, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, him be taken out by somebody he knows in front of his business, in his neighborhood that he came up in front of his business, there's a certain imagery that happened there, and there's a certain example that got set. I think there's a lot of people that saw what is possible. You are still accessible. For that to happen for somebody as respected and revered as he is, especially in that city, for that to happen out there and then to be on camera in broad daylight, I think that humbles people. It shakes them up, and it says, okay. We got to maneuver a bit differently. I saw a lot of rappers out here who were saying they had to maneuver differently. When I think about the way that the internet has been and all of the rise of these very extreme personalities who have said anything that they can, said anything they can get away with. The most volatile things about people's kids, wives, husbands, mothers, fathers, they said anything. When I think about acting the way that he covered the war in Chirac and how people are literally dropping, bodies are dropping, and he's finding his way in the middle of all these different politics, and he's somebody who gets to kind of do it without having to get his hands dirty. That type of personality, he's not the one that created it, but he is somebody who absolutely benefited off of talking about those particular things. He's one of a lot of different people who kept pushing the limits of what that could get you. I do believe what we saw yesterday in broad daylight from somebody who was obviously a very polarizing figure. I saw it. I'd never watched any of his videos, but I saw the clips that people shared of him saying the most wild and outlandish shit. I do feel like as he was at the place where he says the most outlandish shit, and then on the last things he says is gang violence, and then that happens, I do think that I don't know if it's necessarily an example that's being said, but I think that there is a lot of folks who are looking up and saying, maybe I should move a little bit differently. Because if someone in that position who you would think that has security and all these different things can be touched the way that is, your actions have consequences on the internet. We know that. We're adults. A lot of people they operate like that doesn't exist. When I think about what Justin brought up, the two YouTubers that were having issues with each other, and of course I am known, I've had my issues with other YouTubers. I don't have issues until somebody says something and I respond. But me and my big mouth, I have a way of responding, and it pisses people off. With that said, I even have to think about that because I got to come home to my family. I must make it home. All these politics aside, I must make it home. I must make it home. That is not I must make it home. Ain't none of these debates, ain't no polarizing personality can make me enough millions for me to say some outlandish shit to piss people off on a regular basis, for me to look and say that that's the kind of job I want. That sounds like a high stress position. I don't want no parts of it. But I think a lot of people have gotten away with that and have made a lot of money. And now they're thinking twice about where they go share those opinions. So that's just some tidbits. That's something that came to mind. I want agony, assault, and battery. I see a new earth filled with beautiful people making humanity work. Let's kill the followers that follow up on. He said, let's kill the followers that follow up on Pop and Molly's from the obvious degenerates that's failing to acknowledge the hope that we trying to spread. If I'm not his vote, then you need to bring his effing head or film that shit in high res.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Let's kill the followers that follow up on popping mollies, the ones that are doing the opposite of trying to help the people, and the ones that try to stop us and slow us down from helping other people, the ones that they're disruptive. They're trying to find ways to piss you off. They're trying to find ways to use your energy to argue with them on Twitter, use their energy to argue with them on whatever platform that you meet them on, instead of doing the work that you know you need to be doing, the work that can actually help people. He said, for the degenerates that are trying to disrupt this, I hope that the people who know that I'm on the side of hope and trying to spread that, I hope you think he said, if I'm not his vote, then you need to bring his effing head or film that shit in high res. How many times we had conversations about legends and people that they don't got to agree with everything that Kendrick says or does. But are they so tone deaf that they can't represent that this is bigger than what your particular issues are with his brand of lyricism, his style of songwriting, his accolades? Can they not see that this is bigger than that? And if they don't want to see it, well, he says, well, bring me that effing head and then film that shit in high res. I'll be down. Well, I think that represents a decline in some of the party rap themes that we have seen in the streamers that have, for whatever reason, been positioned as music tastemakers. That's insane to me. Last verse, he says, sometimes I wonder what Lecrae would do. F these niggas up or show them what Prayer do. Well, Lecrae actually answered back that same year with Die for the Party, where he literally answers the question with prayer and music. So shout out to Lecrae. He says, I want the empathetic. He said, I want to be empathetic. My heart like D1, but I will redact it. Redacted. That's a word I keep hearing the last year. I ain't never heard so many legalese words. I've heard redacted more times than I want to talk about in hyperbole. Don't even get me started on that shit. It's time to get these devils out the way. Heavy metals on my sword. We settle hard disputes today. The ghetto Hollywood divorces. Give me the ghetto Hollywood divorce. Hold on, let me make sure we get this back here. My bad. Here we go. That's the last verse. Okay, cool. Say hello to your future fate. The culture bred with carnivores. You let them snack. They eat your face. The signature is being forged. The imagery is crazy. They wonder why I'm not enthused to drop. The more visible you get, the more your spiritual is tried.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I guess that answers whatever questions I may have had about the silence that we obviously talked about that. The silence, the silent power of not only TDE and what they have set that as a tradition for years, but of course, Kendrick and what he's doing over the last year with PG Lang. He only shows up when he wants to, not even when necessary. When he wants to, he shows up. But this part right here, I definitely, as somebody who is a front-facing brand that shows up on a daily basis, I can benefit from this one. They wonder why I'm not enthused to drop. You see what I got to look at? You see the kind of people that are out here ready to tear it down, even after all the records that I break. And that wasn't even the goal. Even after all the records I break, even after all the people that I put on, they're still looking for flaws in any and everything that I do. Yeah, well, he put on for those artists, but did he do a show for them? Then the pop out happens. Well, did he do a Draco the Ruler dedication? How about that? For those who understand the street politics, which I myself am not saying I'm a professional and I know everything about it, it gets tricky, but he still was able to do a dedication in the Squabble Up video. You see a part of the video, shout out to MacWap, he talks about this. In a part of the Squabble Up video, Kendrick is rolling his eyes, and then he kneels down in front of these candles, and this is RIP in the candles. Anybody who knows the rolling of the eyes and knows the mannerisms of Draco the Ruler, that's an obvious nod to Draco the Ruler, who people recognize Draco the Ruler's style in rapping, very distinct style in rapping, and not like us in a lot of songs that we heard like Peekaboo. We've seen that, but that was the nod. So anything that he does good, they're gonna try to find bad. So why am I not enthused to drop? Because I already know what's about to come with that. These folks didn't talked about his family. They didn't talked about his fiance. Like, they didn't talk about anything they could. And none of it worked. He says, the more visible you get, the more your spiritual is tried. It's cynical to say, I know these artists petrified. The end result, in jail by Jezebel, are drugged up full of lies. Here's where I think he starts to really, really expose these niggas is not friends in this industry. And when it all gets tough, when the shit get too tough, you start to see the vulnerability of this game. You start to see the truth in this game. It's cynical to say that I know these artists are petrified. The end result, in jail by Jezebel, are drugged up full of lies. Young Thug got jailed, and then them leaks came out of him dissing his peers. When you think about the ongoing drug deaths, the overdoses, rest in peace to a rich homie Quan. These are the type of end results that Kendrick is talking about, I think, in this, without knowing the specifics. Last part of this, he says, critical, I know my physical is tested all the time. I'm pitiful, sunk in place. As soon as I'm questioning my pride, I'm seeing ghosts, blacking out, relapsing one thought at a time. Yee! I spare no feelings. That ain't mine. I'm in my feelings when I slide. I mean, a nigga wonder what Lecrae would do. Terrace Martin said I'm mentally with layers, true. I flood the market with my best regards. I pay your dues. I paid your dues. I flood the market with my best regards. I paid your dues, and so it's up. If you ain't one of ours, it's bad news. If you're not one of ours, it's bad news. Doesn't it seem like the people who have been Kendrick adjacent or have been extensions of like this multiverse, whether through collaboration or through cosign, whether it's an AZ Chike, whether it's a Lefty Gunplay? I know he had a tough stretch, but hasn't it seemed like artists that have came out of that space who were able to do something with that opportunity, hasn't it seemed like they have been maneuvering a lot differently, especially AZ Chike? Shout out to him. I just saw he was on the Kai Cenat stream for On the Radar. Definitely is maneuvering a very special place. Shout out to Jason Martin, Glass Malone, a lot of folks. My nigga Jay Estrada said, I got to burn it down to build it up. That's confirmation, real as F. If it ain't too many real as us, locking in to what I trust, looking outside. These kids love to live tomorrow because today the party just died. I wrote here, Kendrick actions mirror this quote unquote prophecy. He skips the VMAs, then he racks up the Super Bowl. Excuse me, he does the Super Bowl, does the BET Awards, skips the Emmys and the VMAs. He keeps winning silently while the circus continues to collapse. You ain't seen no rebuttals. You ain't seen nobody all in the videos. You haven't seen none of that. You've just literally sat there and you saw him in his own way watching cartoons and eating cereal. Damn it, there's something to learn from that. The level of patience it requires, the level of trust in yourself, the level of trust in your team, the level of confidence in your future and what's about to happen for you to not say nothing, as these people say all this crazy shit. I don't know if I got that much self-control, no matter how much money I make. It's a lie. I do not use Beijing in my hair. That'll get me outside. That'll get me on the podcast. I'll get me right there on the Joe Budden podcast. I'll be on that table just to talk about that. he just made different. He just made different. I'll be right there on that shit. Look, it ain't Beijing. I don't care what that Canadian light bright was saying. My shit real. Like I couldn't stay quiet. And even on beyond that, I couldn't stay quiet winning as much as he did. Are you kidding me? After that Super Bowl show, you know how many times I'd have been on podcasts like, you see when I smiled at that nigga? You see when I smiled at him? I was like, yeah. Are we suing now? I don't have that kind of self-control. I don't. I admire it. I hope one day I have it. I for sure will be talking shit. Y'all be here. Y'all be seeing me. You'll be seeing me. That's why God don't give you certain things, because I ain't ready for it. I ain't ready for it. You wouldn't hear the end of it. You would not hear the end of it. But I know that in a special position, in a special place, my mouth too slick. I'm saying, Afro Butterfly, to much is given, much is expected. I get it. I get it. I'm too petty to be as quiet as Dot. But you know what? You said I'm too petty to be as quiet as Dot. I'll tell you this. My genuine viewpoint on the power of silence has shifted dramatically over this last year. And I know there's factors at hand, like you could say, I'm gonna just ignore everything and your ass will get fired, especially if it's something that's too inflammatory that you need to address. You don't got a team like PG Lang and UMG, and that's what you don't got, all right? Where they can promote you in places where you don't have to physically be. You don't got that luxury. But I do think that in an age where people feel like they have to respond to any and everything that somebody says about them, he's showing that the opposite can work too, and these things don't work in absolutes. Oh, yeah? And then what? I'm gonna leave with this. My mama taught me this. She taught me one time. She said, "Thank you, Fly Science. Have a good one." She said, when we get in here into this check cashing place, there's gonna be some people that's not in their right mind that's gonna be talking to you. She said, don't be acting surprised, don't get mad, and don't get emotional. Just shake your head and say, "Is that right? Okay." She said the conversation gonna be over before you know it. And she wasn't lying. And to me, that was a version of silence that I could understand at that point in time. Now, I don't know if you even get the, "Is that right?" Mm-hmm. I just look at you, be like, you gonna think I'm a mime. It's power in it. It's power in it. In a time where everybody feels like they need to say some shit, I gotta defend my name. Sometimes you do even worse. You do worse damage thinking that you're playing cleanup and being your own PR. You do worse damage. I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with two things. There's a video that I want to show you guys, but then there's also a quote that I saw. I'm sorry, whoever left this comment. Hopefully I can pull your name up as I do this. What you said was a bar, and I think I'm going to look at the ways that I can utilize this moving forward. This was a bar. Somebody left this in my comment the other day. And boy, oh boy, hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. Thank you so much for being here also, too, for DIYers, for those of you that join us a little bit later. I'm going to leave this video up. Shout out to Miss No Gray. Miss No Gray said, "Your silence can't be misquoted."
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I said, your silence can't be misquoted. She said her mentor shared that with her years ago, and it saved her from being foolish. Your silence can't be misquoted. Okay, I hear you. But it can be misinterpreted. Okay, Nows. Okay, Nows. I'm with you. I'm with you. I knew that rebuttal was coming. In the absence of something to say that my answer to this is this. In the absence of something that will be more powerful than somebody's ignorance, because the truth sometimes is not more powerful. Sometimes you got to leave people to their own devices. Sometimes you got to leave them in that moment and just even let them feel like they won something in the moment, because what ends up happening is that, and I'm saying this in real time as I learn these in real time, because what ends up happening is they won this battle. They neglected the necessity of winning the war. They can't win the battle and the war. And I think too many people take battle hits as if they're war hits. Like, this is going to change the next 2 weeks of your life, not the next 2 years of your life. And I think a lot of folks lack that patience to be like, say less. There will be a better platform for me to say the shit that I really want to say. And that's even if it still matters at that point. Let me pull this one up real quick. All right, so this video here I thought was really interesting. Matter of fact, Big Gip posted this, and if you didn't see Lizzo, this is really relating. This is the last statement I want to make about this whole song. Shout out to this stream. This is super dope. I'll leave it up here. Silence can be really powerful. I'm with you. So Lizzo made a video. It's like a 3-minute video. You can go check it out, where she basically made the argument that the reason why we haven't had a summer song, which I saw Punch from TDE alluding to it, we have had a summer song. Because what was Luther? He said in the entire 13 months of summer, did Luther drop out of the top 10? I just think that we got to stop acting like we have, I think in general in society, we got to stop acting like we have the same mainstream that we had 15, 20 years ago. We don't have the same mainstream anymore. Like, it's not the same mainstream anymore. We don't all experience the same things at the same time. There are so many tribes and niches and worlds to exist in, especially online. We're not experiencing the same things at the same time. We talk about this in my Discord all the time. Shout out to Afro Butterfly. We're not experiencing the same things at the same time and having these moments. Rarely we do. Super Bowl is one of those, right? But folks have their own spaces to go. Love Island is another space in its own. I don't. My wife watch it, but I don't really be knowing shit. You know what I mean? Like, but we have a different mainstream. So if that's the case, we're not listening to the same music because we don't have to listen to the same music. So with that said, the argument could be made for Luther if you're going by the charts, but that's neither here nor there. I want to get to this video real quick. I think there's a bigger thing to be said about why we don't have, why they think we don't have a summer song, if that's the case, which I don't think is the case. But listen to what this gentleman said, and let me know your thoughts, because I think what he said was really, really powerful. So Lizzo said we don't got a summer song because of the new algorithms of social media and how much control tech has on it as opposed to the labels. He responded with this.
Lizzo said there's no song of the summer because they can no longer serve the masses. Basically, her whole stance is because of the internet, artists now have to serve their people. It's becoming more niche now. And I call bullshit on them. The reason that there is no song of the summer for 2025 or was for 2025 is not because they can't serve the masses. It's because the artists are not at the wavelength that the masses is on right now.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Do we want to have that conversation though? Shout out to Adam is Chill. Big Gip actually posted this on his Instagram. Do we want to have that conversation though? Because that would imply that it's something the artists do have control over. And it may not be the big bad wolf label that is the reason why their music is not connecting. And we're having an experience where they're the center of attention. Like, even when you think about that, a song of the summer is really a personal thing. Like, it's a personal thing. I don't know, like, I have to go revisit it. I don't know off the top of my head a bunch of songs from this 2000 year, but I remember a song that I did not like, but I knew because of how many times it was played on the radio that it was probably close to being a song of the summer. You know what it was? I got that summertime sadness. Oh. I got that summertime sadness. Oh. I hated that song, but I could not get away from that song. In the mall, and no matter where you go, it was a Lana Del Rey. Yeah, I could not get away from it. I knew it was the summer song of the summer because it played every hour on the hour. So what I'm saying is it's still a very personal thing. I think there's a lot of nostalgia to what the song of the summer is. The industry may champion one song as song of the summer. The people are gonna champion another one because of what that song meant to them. Somebody in here said, so be it was the song of the summer for them. Who's going to discredit that? We just don't have the same mainstream anymore. We're not all listening to the radio anymore. The platforms that are supposed to cover music don't even cover music anymore. MTV don't even show MTV Music Awards on MTV. It's on CBS. You don't see music videos on BET anymore. You see music videos exclusively on YouTube. If you even get a music video, now you get a vertical video exclusively on Instagram. Could it be that the people are not connected at the wavelength? Could it be? Could it be? I'm gonna let him finish off, though. I'm not gonna interrupt him again. I just want to make that statement. I think this is a really great statement. Let me see.
You know what that mass wavelength is right now? Revolution, truth talking. And they can't be on that type of time because their puppet masters won't allow them to. I mean, just think about it. The last song that I remember was the song of the summer was They Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. A song in which he's calling out weird shit that's going on in the industry. One person in particular, but it's really about a sinister group of them. The people are waking up, and these artists are not feeding that. So that's why they don't want to hear it. What song are you gonna make? Another song about how rich you are? Another song about how many bitches you get?
Is it too truthful in here today?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Is it too truthful in here today? I'm sorry, disconnected multimillionaire. I'm sorry that everybody's not talking about you and making you the center of their world. But to get a combo for them and their family of 2 or 3, they're paying $40 fucking at McDonald's. They're being limited of how many eggs they can get out of their grocery store, especially when there's low supply. Your music is not a priority. Tech companies, I feel like, already deprioritize the necessity of music in general, in terms of whether or not we even have to pay for it. It should be free in their eyes. But add on top of that, you got artists that are so self-centered. They see people out here struggling financially, spiritually, mentally. And the first thing you can think about is, why aren't you focused on me? Bitch, I'm broke. Not me in particular, but bitch, I'm broke. What do you mean? What have you done? What have you done musically to stop me in my tracks and say, you know what? That song understands me. That song is right where I'm at right now as a human being. He is dead on with that. Fucking got a bag of chips today for $6. That used to be $4. Like, what are we talking about? You don't like my song with my flute? No, I fucking don't. I got other pressing issues, Lizzo.
We're done with that shit, bro. We want revolution. We want change. That's why there's no song of the summer.
And that's what happens when you are so disconnected. No disrespect to Lizzo, of course. You feel me? I know she's phenomenal at her flute, but fuck. I ain't trying to hear you like, what do you mean you don't like my song? I played the flute on it. I don't care. I don't care. The flute go like this. Nobody care about that shit. Is you finna come here and pay some of these bills? Or do you got a song that can make me like, do you have a song that can help me to understand? Like, do you have a song that can like sonically soothe me as I'm stressed the fuck out? When's the last time you heard a song that wasn't the Wiz Khalifa song that was about somebody passing away? Yet that happens every day. So last time you heard a good marriage song. And I'm not saying people are not making them, because I know they're in country genres and all of that. I'm saying for this genre, you wonder why other music is being embraced while the pure sales are going down for the music that's supposed to be the hit music. The problem with, and that comes back to the initial conversation that I had on Culture United, the problem with hit music is that that's a formulaic approach to tapping into the emotions of people. Formulas change all the time. Formulas change all the time. And we're experiencing one of those. But the problem is the people who don't understand that the formula is switching, is changing, are the people who are too disconnected from what's going on. That's my opinion, at least. If you cannot tap into the emotions of the people, what makes you think you deserve the attention of the people? And that's the bare minimum. Tam Cole, that's the bare minimum. You can't tap into me emotionally? What am I spending 45 minutes with you for? Do I even like you as a human being? What are you talking about in this song? Suraj Suray says, Birds Don't Sing by Clips is another one. That's what happens when you tapped in with the people. You start off your album that you've been waiting for 2 years to put out into the world. You start the album off with a Birds Don't Sing and put John Legend on the hook. If you ask people who think about hit songs all the time, you know what they would say? Don't put John Legend on there. Put Leon Thomas on there. That's the better look. Not understanding that even though he's a phenomenal singer as well, that there's an emotional connection with somebody who has a very church-like voice, like a John Legend in that moment. Like there's things that you cannot you cannot predict when you're connecting with human beings about why something will work. If you would have told me a year ago that my son would be playing a song by Malice and Pusha T and Pharrell called So Far Ahead, or So Be It. My son is 7. He is rapping the lyrics of a 40-year-old, 48-year-old, and 52-year-old rap legends. Like they're the newest thing that happened. So what I'm saying is sometimes formulas switch. And the whole industry's trying to figure some shit out. And they lost. But they don't want that. They don't want you to know that they lost, because if they have to admit that they're lost, people are going to lose more jobs. They're going to lose more value amongst each other. And there's certain people now that have the pulse of the people, even people here in this space of the online space. If you don't have connection to people, that is your biggest liability moving forward, I think. Just some of my thoughts, though. Just some of my thoughts. The world is shifting, the game is shifting, and all that stuff that's coming along with it. Thank you so much, DIY. Shout out for the build. This is dope. Shout out for the build. Some people are hitters and quitters. I'd rather be a hunter and gatherer. I'm with you on that. Shout out to my dog, Brian Z. He said some artists are moment artists and some artists, I believe he said, are career artists. And I think we're looking at a lot of people who are career artists that are showing up. They're like, I'm going to be doing this. Here I am now myself. I'm 20 plus years into making music. And obviously I found a lot of success doing the content that I do on YouTube, right? This is part of what helps me to feed my family. And it is amazing that I get to do this. But there's a part of me that I saw that was in need of some nourishment. And that was the part of me that still at 40 wants to learn how to become a better songwriter. Learn how to be a better rapper. Learn how to be a more technically skilled rapper. But that requires me to really, really dive into the craft in a very different way at 40. But the point is, there are many of us out here still with that hunger. And it's not a hunger to try to, quote unquote, make it. It's not a hunger to go out here and try to compete with a 20-year. It's not what it is. It's a matter of, do you love the craft or not? And I think we've seen more than one occasion. We've seen people who don't love it, probably never loved it, and can't imagine having to do it if it's not for money. That's simply not how I operate. Don't make me no better than nobody, but it does make me different. So, them days you don't get content, no, I'm in here writing my ass off and preparing myself for new music, but not just new music for an album, new music moving forward in general. And I think a lot of where we're at right now, a lot of the opportunity that even is out there for independent artists, I don't have to be concerned with getting anybody's cosign. I don't have to be concerned with getting any interviews from nobody. I don't have to be concerned with who's going to platform me because I got my own platform. I don't got to be concerned with what shows I can or can do because I can do a show in my living room. Like, we're in a different time period now. But I think so much of that can be credited to the example that was set, to the conversations that were inspired by what Kendrick did before, during, and after that battle last year. And this song 1 year later has aged like fine wine. So salute to him. Salute to everybody that was in here today. I'm going to cap it off with that. I really do appreciate you. Thank you one more time to my guest, Justin, the company, man. That was definitely a pleasure to have here. I encourage you, especially those of you out there that are creating, keep creating, keep creating, keep creating. We need you more now than ever, especially if you feel like you're up there in age. Keep creating, keep creating, keep creating, keep creating. Not because you about to change the game, but because literally you creating is going to leave the opportunity for you to extend your catalog, but for also somebody else to not stop before they're 3 feet from goal. That's it. Y'all have a good one. This video will stay up there. I appreciate you. Much love to you all. One more time for the DIYers. Until the next time. Yep. DIY. Until the next time. Have a good one. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.